so I don't know how much of that story you got, but the point being is that like Keith Baker.
Damn shame.
Oh shit.
What?
Every time with this show. All right, so.
And then they kissed.
Yes. I was saying that it feels like I'm filling in for Keith Baker, even though I am the regular marshal for this show. But that Keith has a weird power as a game master, and it came from having a lot of experience traveling the country, running games for people, demoing his own games, but also just playing games. And he has that thing where he sort of asks you 5 questions when you sit down, where he's like, "So where are you from and what's going on?" Not you, your character. And he's like, "Cool." And then like all of a sudden that all comes up in the game, and it feels like the most important episode of a TV show. And I've had him run like 5 systems for me, including like Fiasco, Dungeons and Dragons, and in every one of them, you're like, sometimes he'll give you a pre-gen character, and he'll be like, here's like 2 sentences about this character, and somehow that worms its way into your brain, so later on when that person's like lost love is found, you're like, really? Where is she? And it just, he has an incredible emotional control of his PCs. And we miss you already, Keith. Come on back. Keith is promoting his other game, the name of which I don't know, but with the Decemberists.
Yeah, the Decemberists, the really cool indie band, have something to do with it, and I just found it on Facebook today. So pretend I know the name and look it up.
Yes.
Is it the Illuminati?
It's Illy something. Here,
like
you know what? If only there was some way I could look it up.
Yes. If only a computer fit in the palm of your hand.
Gee, wouldn't that be swell?
So this is Phoenix Dawn Command, which is the game where famously you level up by dying, and there are no character sheets, and there are no dice. And this is our 4th session, is it?
Wait,
5th?
5th, I think.
5th session, and we've already had several deaths. We've already had everyone's died at least once. Even Beans, and then we've also had several people die more than once.
Yay!
Sorry. Keith Baker's new game that is coming out is called Illimat.
Illimat.
Yes, there's going to be a Kickstarter, but that has no bearing on our game right now. So anyway.
Yeah, but we will probably be showing you some of that here, as we love Keith, and we're happy to support. So if you're interested in Illimat, keep your eyes tuned here. All right, so all of our characters have died multiple times and come back, as you do as Phoenixes, and each time you came back more powerful and also reflective of the death you had and the lessons you learned. And you're also slowly all becoming whatever it is that you are destined to become. You're slowly changing into a more idealized form, you might say, and getting further away from the person you were before your first death.
Matt, can you move your mic? There's complaints no one can hear you.
Oh, I mean, that's really for the best, I think.
She just growls at camera and the hits come in.
Growl, snarl.
Or maybe just to the other side of your shirt.
Complicated.
You're still the only one of any of the cast who realize you can turn your mic like that, so we might as well get you to do it every time.
Use that gift.
I'm doing things now, making sounds. Is it working?
Let's check.
Talk more to me, I think is what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
that might be some of it, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, just the whole games.
Yes, just staring
Hey, what's up? Hey.
back at each other.
Dom says that you're off, but I tested you earlier and you were on. Unless I was picking
Middle
up
bar.
something else.
Just
Are you guys trying to gaslight me at this
Just-
point? What is happening?
tap your mic a little bit. Can you hear that? Oh, do you have the cans on?
It's my turn to have technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Are the inertial?
We had the problem was we had technical difficulties in the last stream that we had to deal with during the break, and as a result, we didn't get a chance to do our full-on audio checks. And so Dom is merrily.
I am making mouth noises with words and things and stuff.
Use your armpit.
I'm hearing you.
Says Don Carnage speaking to you with my mouth.
Growl, snarl, growl, snarl.
Very commercial. So for anyone who's new, and also
Try
just
one more time.
One more time I am trying with the words mouth thing. Otherwise, the whole game I'm just going to pantomime.
yes,
Okay.
very avant-garde.
Dare you? God.
Okay.
She's so rude.
That's why you wore the fangs today.
Yeah.
We got a mic cord switched and I didn't know, so
Ah,
I had green muted.
Oh.
Oh.
Really?
Ooh.
Wow.
Sorry,
I just I'm just.
Yeah, they're all color-coded.
Clock out. Go home.
All right, so
Anyway.
What now?
the little show that could will continue going here on Saving Throw Show.
Something idealized souls.
This week's episode of Things Done Command has been preempted.
Brought to you by reruns of the Olympics. All right, so let's go around and talk about who your characters are and how they've changed since we first met them and what is recent news for them. Just basically give us an introduction. And while we're at it, why don't we talk about who you are briefly for anyone in the chat who's just meeting you, and also so that Dom can secretly test your mics even further. Let's start with Chan.
I am Chan. I'm a podcaster. I got a couple good shows out there. Knowing's Half the Podcast, The Science Jerks, starting the 101 soon on Boardwalk Audio. This is Eerie. He's a creepy little J-horror kid. He's a Forceful, which means he is very, very fast. His second death was Shrouded, so he's acquired some mysterious knowledge from the unknown. Also, last time around, he had a friend, maybe a mother-ish figure, unwanted, but
A hen picker.
Eat the soup.
she died under most tragic circumstances because nobody else here cares about human beings. So he wears her face mask. That's a Scavi tradition in remembrance.
And it's spooky. All right. Tara, tell us a little bit about you and Idalia.
Hi, I'm Tara. I'm a performer of various kinds. And my character is Idalia. She's from the Devoted School. And she's kind of like healer, empath, that sort of thing. She wears like this golden armor that kind of channels her powers. She's probably one of the more people persons of the wing, I guess. And her first death was kind of like, I should get this thing. It's pretty handy. So it was pretty. She died a devoted death, so she's pretty like double down devoted now. And I hope to see. I'm looking forward to see what the next one is. Maybe tonight.
Hopelessly devoted.
All right. Which one of you at the end of the table wants to go next?
All right.
Ladies first.
I'm Michael Holmes. I work digitally and I play analog. Sorry.
Nice one.
Thank you. I've been working on that all week. It was very proud. My Phoenix is Ink. He is part of the Shrouded School. He sneaks and he knows things. He's a scholar. He has died 3 times now, the last which was off screen. He died defending a group of villagers from this rampaging group of the undead. So because of that, he gained a talent in the Devoted School. And as he's kind of continued to be reincarnated, he's kind of phasing slowly out of reality. But
So
more on that later.
Yes. All right.
I'm Mac Beauvais. Hopefully you can hear me now because I'm making sounds for your pleasure or displeasure. I'm a actor, cosplayer, writer, ne'er-do-well. I haunt your dreams at night.
Cartoonist.
Yeah. Yes. I've started actually posting some of my doodles. Hard to believe I used to be a fine art major. But I am playing Varya, who is from the Bitter School. She is basically she was a berserker in her human life. She died and now is actually taking that on and actually becoming more bestial every time she dies. She actually died in the last game, protecting one of the last people from her tree, which are the tribes that live out in the deep Grimwald. And she's come back. She went through the Bitter School again because she did not feel really great about getting killed by a giant green ooze monster. And you can catch up on the stories, on the recaps on the official Saving Throw website, by the way. I don't know who knows that, but
None of that unofficial
recaps.
Saving Throw website.
Yeah, no off-brand Saving Throw.
Saving through. Saving through.
Housing through.
But she's come back a lot more wolfy than she was before, so she's got kind of a more hunched bestial skeletal structure. She's got fangs, she's got pointed ears, yellow eyes. If she's in the dark, you start to see a little bit of that animal eye shine reflected in them. And she wears a wolf pelt, but it's actually starting to phase into her skin a little bit, so there's actually like some fur that is growing from her own skin now.
Awesome. In addition, you can, to varying degrees as we go further on with this game, this is a very new game. Obviously, we were the first people ever to stream it, and probably one of the first groups in the world to be playing it. As a result, we're slowly filtering in the normal saving throw show sort of audience interaction because we don't want to break the game. So right now, if you'd like, you can make donations either with your experience points or through cash donations to give these fine folks redraws, which we have 2 of remaining from last game.
Lifesavers.
Which allows them to draw cards when they need them. You can also add environmental elements to the game. Environmental elements, objects that they might use in a combat, also allow them to draw cards, but also get additional effects. Going forward, you'll be able to do more and more of that. In fact, if for some reason you tune into this game specifically for the interactivity and new fun interactivity is charming to you, next week we're going to debut their flare abilities, which is something you can donate for, which allows you to give them basically a special power for a whole combat. So that should be really fun, but that won't happen until next week. We got to sort of make sure that's exactly right, or they will walk over this game like it's going out of style. Nick is your chat captain today on the 1s and 2s. Say hi to Nick, who is going to be there, and he can answer any questions about how you might donate. I'm now wondering if we put the right donations on in Revlo, but that's something that you or Dom can handle. And how you donate and what to donate and what that means, and he'll talk to me here on the Machinamat. So let's get started. So as we left off, your wing, the Reborn wing, had been sort of tasked by the collective marshals. The marshals are the eldest phoenixes. Phoenixes last 7 deaths, which means none of you are even halfway there yet. But phoenixes last 7 deaths, and some phoenixes on their 7th incarnation stay and serve as marshals, which are sort of the leaders of the Phoenix group. They're the most powerful by far of any of the Phoenixes that are alive today, but their powers are better suited to leadership and to sort of mentoring these newly reborn Phoenixes than anything else. There are 6 schools, but only 5 marshals because there is no bitter marshal. And so the 5 marshals have sort of decided that in this troubled time when the dread is upon us and all these various forces are being unleashed against mortals all across the world, that your wing should be in charge primarily with trying to deal with the chant, as you've had 2 successful encounters with chanters. Chanters being a terrible infectious song that turns people into essentially, 28 days later zombies. But that doesn't mean necessarily, because they only ever assign 4 of you max at any given time, that doesn't necessarily mean that others of the wing haven't been sent on other missions, which is how your elemental phoenix Kelvin and your Durant phoenix Beans were off on assignment for the first several weeks that we've met for this game. And last week, while the 3 of the 4 of you were dealing with relighting an Eerie in the Grimwald, where we met some of Mac's history. They had actually sent Ink and Beans on a separate mission to help reinforce a battle against the Bones, which are the primary antagonists right now. Bones are Bones are essentially the undead from Army of Darkness. And they have been attacking en masse, like actual military forces, full-on outwardly attacking, not things that go bump in the night, like things that play war drums and have encampments and there's, and they build cities and they attack and they're really nasty and they're more than the regular Legion can handle. So Phoenixes are sent to the front and regular divisions, whole wings of Phoenixes will go to the front to reinforce battles because otherwise the humans simply can't stand against them. And that is where you were last with Beans, where we are now learning, because you were returned to the Grand Imperial Pyre, that you fell in that battle. So you can, it's up to Ink how much Ink tells the rest of the party. You're all bonded together. You all felt him die when he died and so on and so forth, but you don't necessarily know the story.
Tell us more.
How did you die?
Did you get stabbed in the eye? Sorry.
I mean, Ink's actually pretty quiet about the whole thing because I think he got. Why did I say it in character? I can say it in character.
Yeah, you can.
I feel as though I've let you all down in a way. I was more confident in my abilities than I should have been, and perhaps if I'd been there, Varya wouldn't have fallen, and I hope you can forgive me.
I'm in for hitting things and being hit. It was going to happen.
I suppose so. You have a point, but we only die so many times. I certainly hope that my next is more worthwhile than this one proved to be, although I believe I did save a few of our citizens, so.
You wouldn't know what to do in a forest anyway.
Don't listen to him. We thank you for your sacrifice.
At this point, the Reborn Wing is getting somewhat of a reputation as well, both because it's surprisingly monstrous, which people have definitely taken note of. I mean, again, there are like full-on centaurs that are phoenixes. Phoenixes come in all shapes and sizes. But for whatever reason, if there was a Halloween store that'd be selling more of your wings costumes than anything else, with the exception of Idalia, who is developing somewhat of a cult following. Pilgrims from the mainland travel to Pyre to be seen by Idalia, and she's after your showing.
That's where the hay comes in.
After your showing in the capital. And once sort of rumors of your abilities got out, and also the fact that you're like a giant golden goddess, there's a fair amount of like support there. The rest of the wing less so, as you basically have the three of you who are all varying degrees of monsters from movies, and then you have Kelvin, who is slowly freezing, while Beans, who is frozen to death, slowly thaws, and so neither of them are like regular looking people yet. And also Beans speaks in 80 different accents and tells every person she can find about how that she saved those babies from wolves.
And
Wolf
is a
babies.
master of the ancient Alolan art known as karate, which I think is spelled Carrady.
Yeah, karate.
Karate.
So collectively, Idalia is the big hit with citizens.
Oh, guys.
So typical.
But
No, everyone loves you guys too, I swear.
while you feel like the marshals are a little bit wary of your wing's sort of nature, obviously phoenixes don't sort of by and large go rogue. They don't have any real fear that there's something wrong there. But there is a sort of like, they give you a sideways look, but they can't argue with results. And so they definitely send you out when need be, and this is no different. You are sort of, at the, taking a brief break. I don't know how long it took before you came back to
It
the
was
fire.
at least several days.
Yeah.
Which is a little more unusual.
Kelvin, having reached rank 4, was almost immediately resent out with Beans on a mission, so they're off.
I'd like to think that we emerged probably at the same time, and that's how I realized that my not being there was probably not a good thing.
And you're called in by Winter, who brings you in, and she's the Shrouded Marshal, and she's your average sort of. She may the rumor has it that she's not in fact a phoenix, but actually a member of what are they called in the Scavi tradition?
Fallen folk?
Yeah, a fallen folk member who just has been bound somehow to the Phoenix society. She wears a mask just like a lot of the Fallen do and a lot of the Scavi do, and sort of has a similar sort of combination of slightly ethereal qualities that we see in Ink. And she says, well, it's not often that I have so little information to give a wing upon assignment, but recently there has been an unusual sighting, and as it happens to be near to where we are eventually going to be deploying your wing on the search for additional information about the Chanters, we figured we might as well send you now. I'm afraid I can't even begin to explain in a way that I think would be helpful, so it's best you just simply head through to the Eerie and march on the location that I'm handing you. I feel like it's may be a threat, it may not. Currently, there doesn't seem to be any harm come to anyone, but the soldiers who discovered this activity were quite unnerved by it. So, I suppose, good luck.
Thank you, Winter.
Will the soldiers be there when we get there?
They've given instructions as to how to get there, but they dispersed. They were on patrol and
They pieced out.
hurried on.
I don't like not knowing at all what we're walking into.
This feels like a practical joke.
Or a trap?
Eerie? Correct.
Never trust
His
the
word, yeah.
fallen.
Well, we must go where we're charged to go, I suppose, but I don't have a very good feeling about this.
Well,
Worried
Yeah.
about your sanity if you did.
all right. So you head off by way of the Grand Eerie. So you're all incinerated in the Imperial fire and reconstituted on the other side. And it's your average Eerie, with a weapons rack and a bunch of attendants running around, and they're all happy to get you whatever you need, and there are bags of food you don't eat. And then they basically sort of give you the instructions and send you off, and it's about I'd say half a day's journey, maybe a little longer. It's starting to like change color a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit more like in the dusk sort of feel. When you come over a hill, and in front of you, you see what appears to be a village, but that there are villagers outside of it. There's it looks just like a village, like you might see, but you realize after almost no time that none of the villagers are moving. And so there's like someone like with a pitchfork and like with hay on the end of it, there's like children running down the street. There's people walking down the town. There's it's a farm village. It has like all the basic sort of trappings of a farm. And then the only real sort of way that it looks much different than any other like farming village is that there's a small like military force also not moving, maybe about 20 men and women in what appears at this distance to be armor, and they're all sort of on a perpetual march, not going anywhere, heading off in a direction. And you can see all this from above here, and there's no smoke coming from the chimneys, but otherwise the whole town seems to be basically the whole village seems to be as it would be.
This is damned peculiar.
Do we know if there was a village here or if this is all cropped up?
You can make a lore spread.
I'll do that. Intellect spread, right?
Yeah.
All right. How's 12? What'll 12 get me?
Well, I should ask just by default if anyone wants to buff that, but 12's fine.
Okay.
You don't think that, you don't recall there being a specific village here in a map, but it's not uncommon for the smaller villages to not be on maps, especially considering almost everyone is still recovering from the war like several generations ago.
Sure.
It could easily have gotten lost.
The presence of the military gives me a bit of concern, though, and I'm very curious as to what's in the direction they're marching.
Well, is it actually people frozen or is it some other kind of construct?
There's really only one way to find out.
Shall we?
I'll walk up and poke one of them with a stick.
I'm coming with you.
The two of you going to stay behind? Or?
I'm going to follow, but I'm also, especially since I swapped to the nature specialty, maybe like smelling around to smell if it smells like it would smell like farms, it would smell like people, it would smell like life.
Okay. You definitely get like the smell of like farms, like there's manure and hay and and all the and flowers and like it has all the trappings, it has all the smells of a farm, but you don't smell people. You don't smell any sort of like you don't smell man flesh. To quote Sauron. But you and as you get closer, and it's maybe another 30 minutes of triping down the hill. You come upon your first of the various sort of frozen peoples. and it's not a person. It's essentially, I don't want to. It's basically like a mixed media art project.
With Blazing Saddles, they built an exact replica of the village.
Right.
It's a Tupac Shakur hologram.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the person is made up of mostly like wicker and like reeds and wood and sort of knitted together in a framework. But all the sort of, from maybe 20 feet back, it looks very much like a person because there are like scraps of cloth and like shiny objects and rocks and stones all sort of twisted into it in such a way that from a distance it all blends together into the coloration of a person. But when you get close up together, it basically just looks like someone has made like a junk sculpture of a person. It has like the basic shape of a person, and it's not even entirely complete. Like some fingers sort of trail off, and there's like half the face is there, but from the right angle it looks like a person.
Who would do this?
Would they try to ward off this activity with something like this, like a scarecrow almost, or I don't?
But why would you have a village of scarecrows?
It doesn't make any sense. Especially, there's the other smells here of a natural village, but no people.
I'd take a stick and push it over.
Okay. It's whatever is sort of like where the feet are attached to the ground. Some of those are sort of like pokey outy bits that are actually stuck into the earth, but with a small amount of effort you can knock it over, and it's relatively sturdily constructed, but it's just sort of like, as you might imagine, like a structure made of mostly like reeds and wood. It sort of like bends a little bit when it hits the ground, and some of the pieces sort of fling out, and it just is there on the ground.
Can we tell if there was some sort of enchantment on it?
You might be able to.
I was just going to say, I cast Sense Magic, but that's a different game.
Let's see. What suit do you think?
It's going to be a gray spread for spirits.
Oh, perfect. Got one. No, two, but.
Oh, things are getting
It came.
serious.
Oh.
Max taking out the horn.
Look, we just found a village full of people that aren't people.
Yeah. And chat, if you'd like to make the Max getting horny comment, no.
Yeah, no. I
It's
will
inevitable.
come to your house, and you will not like the results.
It is a chat room, though. By definition, they will eventually get there.
Right?
Any Nicolas Cage Wicker Man references, however, most welcome.
Yeah. Or, we can go early Wicker Man. It's cool.
Yeah, the Christopher Lee Wicker
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, which is a
He
really
looks so happy in that dress.
He really does. And the Equalizer. Let's not forget the Equalizer. He was on that too. Do you remember the Equalizer? It was a show from the 80s.
All right.
you got?
I sure ain't got much for this, but I'm going to add in intuitive.
Okay.
Speaks for itself, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got for anything close to gray. So,
But you're adding 5
And that's
because of
adding
your
5.
spirit specialty.
actually, this gives 5, and yeah, so okay,
So it's 15.
15.
You feel like you detect the smallest amount of like sort of ectoplasmic or spiritual energy here, but it is so incredibly minute, in any one of these things that it's very hard to detect. On a broader scale, like any 50-foot square of people or of whatever these things are might seem a little more like it's animate, but generally speaking, they just seem like they're physical structures.
Are there also structures of livestock and other things that are not humans?
There are no livestock here, so there are no in either way. Like there are no,
So that somebody may have packed things up and they may have left. We should look for trails for them leaving from this
I feel
village.
like we should also maybe look inside some of the houses, see if there's any clues there.
Absolutely,
All right.
time to explore.
All right.
And definitely look for tracks exiting the
Absolutely.
village.
Well, where are you gonna head first?
Is there maybe like some sort of tavern or something? Like a meeting place where people would have gathered?
Sure, there's probably like a public house.
Sure, then let's go to the public house.
All right. Marching through the town, you can see several more of these sort of, wicker constructs, or if you will, like these sort of mixed media characters. They're all made with what looks like must be objects of convenience. So as you get closer to town, the scraps of wood make up the bulk of the bodies, or and there are different types of cloth and whatnot. There's a guy whose leg is a shovel, But again, at anything more than like 20 feet, it all looks relatively normal. And there are people like walking through town. They're looking inside of windows or inside of doors. You see like kids around the table, and they're all made out of like cloth and buttons, and there's the different piles of different objects. Some of it's filled in, so like there's like a bag of rice, like filling out the shape of someone. Eventually reach the public house, which is much the same. There are like revelers there drinking, like there are two people clinking a glass, and it's all made entirely of just sort of weird objects that have sort of nested together in these shapes.
We need to find if there's a trail out of here, maybe start where they would have had livestock, because there's going to be a heavier imprint than a human foot would leave exiting.
We've seen many fantastic things in our brief time together, but this is by far the most disturbing. Scribble. That's Ink's thing. Is he's a scribe, but he doesn't actually write things down. He's got a magic stylus, so it writes on the air.
That's right.
Yes. Well, Varya, of us all, you're probably the most adept at that. I'd gladly follow your lead.
You want to make a nature spread to try and...
I do, but I have a bad feeling that's going to be a grace spread.
It's certainly not going to be a strength spread.
Damn it.
Although,
but I'm really strong about nature.
Can you? Does your specialties allow you to use grace on specialties or strength on specialties?
You can use any one card as a strength card regardless of the actual suit.
On your specialties, though, it should say that. Sometimes it says
whenever your specialties and skill spread, add 5 to the total. You use strength cards in a skill spread involving your specialties.
Then go ahead.
Okay.
Then yes, you can strength your way through this.
Right, I'm not
so
sure.
hard right
Cut to
now.
a lot of her like doing like old school.
I have
like,
no
strength
idea how high I need to go on this. I could make it really high.
It's as high as you want to go because you're going to draw back after this anyway. So,
Yeah.
And none of you have any afflictions or anything.
So that's already an automatic 5. Go ahead and throw another 5, make it 10.
5
And
strength
then-
cards, sexy.
Yeah. That makes it 14.
So much red.
And why not? We'll make it 16.
Okay. First off, you're able to detect faint, like, there hasn't been a lot of activity in terms of movement around this area for some time, but you can detect faint tracks. So, like, regular people, or at least things with shoes on, were moving around the space, a few days ago, a week ago. It's not immediate. There's no, like, muddy footprints, but there was something there. And then you're able to either smell or track out some livestock. It takes a while, but you're able to find some of the sort of basic oxen they were using to till the fields. They basically just didn't have anyone to mind them, so they wandered off. So they're like in the edge of the tree line.
So it's less that people evacuated, more it was truly abandoned.
You also find tracks, sort of regimented tracks leading into town, coming further from the forest.
And do the livestock tracks lead up to these sort of created livestock?
No, the livestock are regular occurring livestock.
Okay, and you said there were regimented tracks. Do they look like soldier boots?
Yeah, they do. They look, and you haven't investigated the soldiers that are here in town, but they look like they could probably be made by them. Although those soldiers are also,
Fake.
made out of buttons and
Doll people.
Yeah.
Do the tracks lead to those doll soldiers?
You can the tracks lead into town and then sort of spread out and then come back together where the soldiers are. And the soldiers are clearly on the march out of town in a direction.
You said it seemed like coming in from the forest.
They came in from further in the forest, yeah.
Maybe we should go investigate the soldiers that are not soldiers.
I think that is a wise idea. If this village is some sort of decoy, I understand having people in the streets or in the fields, but why would you populate a public house? Why would you have soldiers? Let's see what they have to tell us.
I don't understand modern art.
Yay.
There's a lovely scroll next time we're at Pyre.
Ink. No.
So the soldiers are, as you'd seen them before, although they look less like they've been constructed out of nearby objects, they're made of a lot more natural materials, twigs, vines. They still have the occasional trappings of a modern life. Like there's a relatively large and probably quite valuable jewel is the eye of one of them. There's one of them, their hand is either in a glove or made of the glove, depending on how you want to place it. And they also have full on. They're wearing military. It's not current, but they're wearing leather jerkins, and they have swords and shields.
Okay. Ink very cautiously approaches one of them, perhaps who looks most like the commander or something, some towards the leader of the parade, and I'm using psychometry. Here's a couple of sparks.
All right. What is its spark effect?
To learn the history and the purpose of an object I'm touching.
Okay. You feel like this collection of objects came into existence more than a week ago and traveled some distance in the direction that that the troops marched into town. You know that this object was or is part of or somehow is involved with a sort of larger animating force, but that it doesn't seem to be there now.
Okay.
So is there a chance that they've been turned into these things rather than been created by someone?
I suppose it's possible.
You would think there'd be something lingering that one of you could sense if that were the case, though, and it seems like there's only wisps of anything, unless we're missing something, or it's a magic that's beyond even us.
It's entirely possible. I must admit, I'm at a loss.
It is starting to get dark.
Since we don't know the nature of these things and we are surrounded by them, maybe we should continue our investigations a little further outside of town.
I'd like to see what's going on in the perimeter as well.
Yes, I think that's wise.
And more strategically, a good idea just in case whatever it is comes back or there's something else to it.
So where are you headed?
Well, I mean, the tracks came from the forest. Do we want to just sort of maybe see if we can find an originating point, or?
I think that's the best place to head back to.
I agree.
Right.
Okay.
But circumventing the town and not crossing back the road.
Right. Of course.
All right. You can march through the night if you want to. You don't need to sleep. So you head back into the forest, and once you get sort of past the tree line, it's clear that a relatively large force of men marched through here. You can see where they tramped down the sort of reeds and leaves. And you can't necessarily be sure, but you fancy maybe that you can see where small amounts of the material objects that build these things may have been pulled from areas. There's a thicket of what looks like it might have been green bamboo that's now gone. Maybe that was what was part of the major structure on some of this stuff. The tracks go for some distance, and eventually it's clear that you're on a well-traveled path, and that this is a path that clearly is a tradesman's route, including the occasional watering hole or small well. And over time, you realize that eventually this will lead to another small settlement, but that will be another several hours travel.
I wonder if this is the only one that was like that. We don't have enough information. I've never heard of anything like that.
I'd like to find out. I'd like to go further and see, since especially we didn't hear much from the.
I agree.
It's something that could be
military.
passing through several villages in this area.
Or if we reach our next destination and they are not affected, perhaps they can give us some insight into travelers that have passed through. Who knows?
Surely someone must know. Someone's heard.
Someone has to.
Has
We just need to speak to someone who's been around here.
Let's continue.
Let's.
All right, so you march on through the next few hours, and eventually you reach the edge of the tree line on another clearing and another settlement. The settlement is probably slightly larger, and it borders on a hillside. So it sort of has that sort of half built into the mountain feel to it. And perhaps chillingly or disturbingly, upon reaching the tree line, you can see the outline of immobile humanoid shapes all throughout and at exactly the right angle, you can see like a glint of the moonlight through someone's arm as they're sort of like locked, and they're all doing this. No, they're
The dab is not a dance. Get off my lawn.
No, they're all and they're all basically in shape there. There's also another small military force here, but in this case, they look like they're mustering. There's like people like there's like a child size constructs are like in the position to be putting boots on soldiers, and they're like there's someone like grabbing a spear off a weapons rack, and again they're all just sort of like stuck there, and they're all made from like increasingly different materials. So one of them is made from like a framework of metal wire that has been filled with rocks, and another one is a like interloping leaves.
Well, so much for our witnesses.
If these aren't actually the people that were here, where did all the bodies go?
That's a brilliant question.
Because one village may be an anomaly. 2 villages, that's an awful lot of people to move and be able to move that many people without leaving a trace.
Did Varya just say anomaly?
So, I spent too much time with you. You're in my head once, and I can't get rid of these words.
No, it's flattering. Yes, anyway.
Well, perhaps if people were trying to be avoided by whatever is out there, should we try to attract whatever activity?
But how?
Make some sort of spectacle? Make ourselves known?
I think we're pretty much a spectacle as it is.
But like flaming fire into the sky kind of spectacle.
In the moonlight, you kind of maybe really notice for the first time just how transparent Ink's flesh has become. He's basically like he's still solid, but he's turning into a ghost essentially. But you see this kind of mischievous grin come across his face, and he kind of just starts walking quickly down to the village.
Oh, God.
Well,
You want to follow him or not?
Yeah. Try and make sure he doesn't get killed again.
So, here's my plan.
Okay.
And let me know how we want to execute this.
All right, do it.
He pulls out Dream Shadow, the stylus, and kind of gets to a group of people and starts, for lack of a better analogy, starts like animating. So there's kind of these flickering shadows giving the figures an appearance of motion. Like maybe whoever did this sees that there's something moving down there that shouldn't be. Maybe we can get them to come to us.
Spectacle. Yes.
Make a grace spread.
That I can do.
All right.
So we're going to do 5, and then I'm also going to use Astonishing Luck, which gives me a 4. If I got a spark to do it. And so that's 9, 12.
I would love to add to this. Let's see.
You can discard a card to add too. Because you're just going to draw again anyway.
Trying to figure out which way I want to do it.
Yeah, that's the rub of it all.
All right. So I'm going to add to you. What is that? That gives you him 2.
Yeah, so 2 more.
So that's 14.
And you can make this can be a deception check if you want, so you can add 5 to that.
Sure, so 19.
And you want to try and hit 20 by applying a skill?
I have the shadow skill specialty actually, and he is basically trying to make moving shadows.
All right, I'll allow that. I'll give you 1 more because of Varya's help, begrudging help, I'm assuming. You're able to sort of create what almost looks like a what we would see as almost like old school like film
like a silent movie or something.
Yeah, and it sort of has like a and from if you look sideways at it, they're not actually moving at all. But like you've sort of managed to sort of give them like a little sort of rotoscopic or whatever that you want to call it sort of feel. And it plays out for some time, and it's quite interesting, but there doesn't seem to be any direct effect.
Okay.
Except all of you can make a collective grace spread, target 30.
I can't help you with that.
Man.
They are all on the bottom of the deck.
This happens.
And the best I can do is chip in some sparks.
What, like 3 apiece, or
Yeah.
3 cards apiece?
Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
I'll throw in.
what I can do. 3 apiece, you said? Okay. There's 6. Now, this is something I just got. This is Heart of the Wing. Basically, if you all want to burn a spark, this card can become 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 16, there's 20.
Do you need to boot one, or do they have to as well?
No,
just them?
they.
Okay.
Yeah.
2.
And I'm supposed to draw.
Oh,
But
worry.
we're drawing anyway.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Oh, we can have 3 cards, not 3. Okay. In that case.
26, 28, and 31.
All right. Okay, so you're essentially distracted by your own distraction for a second, but it gives you a sort of a focal point that isn't the town around you, and as a result, when you're done, it very quickly starts to dawn on all of you that the figures that you had been looking at that are sort of in town, and mind you, this is all just illuminated by moonlight, are in different positions than they were before. Like, they've all progressed slightly. So, like, the guy has his boot on now, and the kid's, like, moving on to grab something else, and, like, one of the soldiers has their spear, and people in town are, like, 1 or 2 steps forward. Also, you notice that a few of the figures in town have turned to look at where you are.
Oh, God.
Well, this is great. I mean, I enjoyed your shadow puppet show, but
It's really more of sort of an avant-garde sort of.
remember that thing I said about modern art earlier?
The theme of today's show is art in all its forms.
This episode of Phoenix Dawn Command is brought to you by PBS. Well, that's damned peculiar.
This town is sort of built into the side of a mountain hill.
There hasn't been a
How-
sense of
How
threat
high up
yet.
is it to the top of that?
The mountain goes pretty high, but you will notice that there is, amongst the structures built in the side of the mountain, is what looks like a mine.
We should also do what we did at the last town and make sure, so long as they're not actively coming after us, that this is the origination point. That they didn't come from somewhere else. So it'd be basically doing the same thing as before and seeing if there's outer tracks
Tracks
coming
or-
in,
yeah.
or if they're coming from the mine.
Just going further and seeing how far this actually spreads.
And again, I think we might want to go the long way around.
Certainly, since we seem to be attracting some attention now.
It would be impossible to investigate the mouth of the mine without being in the center of town. Like,
Oh,
you
so
have
it's
to.
a part of the town?
Yeah, so you basically can't go around to it. You can stay around the outskirts of town and
Yeah.
like investigate every other possible way, but if you want to look at the mine, it's going to be.
Well, I think on the way to the mine, we see if there's any tracks leading away from town
Yeah.
in any other direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other ideas or concepts before you move forward?
Yes, Chad.
I'm gonna walk up to the spear guy, take the spear off, pick him up, carry him over my shoulder.
Okay.
Keep them with us, make sure.
All right.
See what they do.
As you're heading outside of town, it looks like dawn might be on the horizon now. You're starting to get like the first light. In fact, we'll say it is dawn. So like you're getting just the first brief light over the horizon, so you can see a little bit better than you could before.
Can I have some sparks back?
I was about to say, can we get sparks back?
Is it half your rank round up? Or is it,
Oh.
I believe it is.
Every-
Sorry.
Sure.
I don't know, I only spent 1 in total, so that's all.
Yeah, only.
So you'll definitely get
Yeah.
one. That much you
Make
get.
it easy.
I don't know whether or not, did you, okay, let's see here. I think it is half your rank round up every dawn, but I could be wrong. But I will look it up.
Let's go with that, at least for right now. That's fine.
But you have an exact half for your rank now, too.
If you guys want to do that, if I could get a couple of cards on the board so I can kind of focus in a little bit.
Sure.
While you look up the roll.
Actually, for a game that has that mentality where you like, where you gain all that stuff at dawn, you so seldom actually do it. Like we
Yeah.
never hit dawn for some reason.
Once you actually mention it, it sort of triggered that, like,
Yeah.
something happens at
We're
dawn.
just that expedient.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's all for you, Mac.
Oh, and suddenly we're in the omen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, twice your rank,
Yeah.
not half your rank.
Okay.
So,
what, you
but
want
that's going
things?
to put you at the
God.
full, right? Because you
Yeah.
haven't spent twice your rank worth
Yeah,
of.
You
can I
got enough
have
there?
some? Oh, good. These are medium. I like that. I don't like that. Like,
Mediums.
yeah, the large ones are too much. There we go.
Okay, crazy thought, just spitballing here. Slap me if you think it's ridiculous. Should we, if, oh, wow, oh, the cards.
Cards. Oh, whose cards are those?
Those are Michael's.
Yes, sorry.
If you've managed to do something that somehow forward accelerated these figures, is there some way that we could animate them backwards and see?
I'm not entirely certain that their moving was based on his shadow show. I think there's something else going on.
That's likely.
I agree.
What's going on there, Spear Boy?
Okay, so as the first rays of light hit the town, you're coming around the outside of it. When you come upon a collection of figures that basically form the shape of an angry mob. So there's like 6 or 7 of them, and they have like torches and pitchforks, and they're all sort of like raised high, still, as you know, as the rest of them are. But as you get closer, they seem to speed up.
The movie monsters are going to bail.
What am I? Well, I guess
like
yeah.
that.
I'm a literary monster, aren't I? Yeah.
Oh yeah, are we going Invisible Man? Like what's happening? You said ghost earlier,
yeah,
so
no,
you
I-
need to clarify your
You
concept
said
before
once
you
you
can
were the
join
ghost
us.
that walks. I'm like, I think the Phantom has that.
I don't know. I'm a completely different ghost
In which
who
case,
also walks.
Okay, so we're out of big sheets.
solidify your concept. You can come hang with us. Okay.
So here is our
Solidify.
environmental
I see what you did there.
objects. We have a hay cart. There's parts of a picket fence. There are farm tools. There's a cold wind, a stone well, and some alchemical devices.
Oh look, there's a well for you.
Yep. Stone wells.
Can you move those towards the board a little bit?
Yeah.
Excellent, that's fine.
Cool.
It's a coid wind.
Coid wings. Where is my which? So we're gonna use this card, but they're not actually Imperial soldiers. You can show the art though, because it's great.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, and.
Well,
Oh,
I have
cool.
an idea. I always have an idea when it involves Smashy.
Well, who wants the torch
Usually good
first?
idea.
All right. I'm actually just gonna decide to just go running at them, and I'm gonna try and, especially because they're made of bits and parts, scoop up a few of them and try and like impale them on the picket fence.
Okay. Nick,
your
can you
MO.
let one of the previous games folks back into the gym, into the garage real quick?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so go ahead and knock off the picket fence and draw a card, and then make a strength or make an attack spread of your choosings.
Yes, and I am enraged as I always am. Let's see. I'm gonna start with crude but effective.
Okay. Yeah.
Always good.
And then so that gives me 5, 9. Gives me what? 12.
12. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, actually, and I have my. Oh no, the talon doesn't really help me if I'm not using.
no, it always affects
Okay,
you.
then that's 14.
14. Okie dokie. So they have a defense of 4, so that is 10 damage, and so that's going to be 5 health ranks. So you manage to smash 2 or 3 of them into the picket fence, where they immediately entirely disintegrate, like literally disintegrate, like all the pieces that they're part of just sort of fall apart. So there's like, hay and like string and twigs and whatnot just sort of fall into a heap. But every time as you kill them, the remainder seem to get faster.
Oh.
So.
All right.
Oh no, you go for it.
Especially
Is Spear Boy doing anything?
He's animated as well. He's joined the fray.
just seeing the kind of bits that they're made of, I'm really encouraged that some fire could do a nice job on these guys. So I want to attack them with my flames
Okay.
and my thuns. Oh, good, I got 3. Grace. Dang it. Okay. And so that's.
I too am displeased with my current hand.
Have your cards.
That's a skill spread. Dang. I can't do my full attack because I don't have enough grace code.
Don't you? Oh, you already did that. Never mind.
Meh.
Boys.
Can I burn a spark to just, well, I don't have much for attack spread.
Well, here. What if we did this? What if I used seen this before and actually kind of give you, the idea that, well, they're made of bits and pieces of twigs and things. Why don't you set them on fire?
I love it.
And that gives you +3.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
Alright.
So so it's gonna be 6. So that's 3 more health levels from that. All right. So they
Jump back up from that. No,
No,
I don't. Right,
no.
because now we're in combat.
right.
Sorry.
All right, so
Good,
they
your
are
turn.
going to make an attack of 8. Basically, like they on top of the ones that were in front of you, like others come out from all sides, and so that each one of you has to make a defense against an attack of 8.
Cool. I'm using Untouchable,
Oh
which
my
turns that into a
God.
5, so that's 8 for me.
You got it.
Well,
You can draw back up, of course, Tara, because
Okay,
you
that's what-
finished
that
your
was
turn.
okay.
well, I can
Okay.
only do one.
that.
However, I have Vengeful. After you use this card in a defense spread, you may burn 2 sparks to make an attack against the attacker and draw back to your hand limit.
Do it.
So I haven't gotten to actually do this card yet.
Nice.
So do I automatically make an attack back?
Yeah.
Oh, and also I am now hidden,
Okay.
because that's one of my things.
I think I might have to take a bit of a hit here because in my current combat style, I can only play 1 grace card.
But you do the damage back, right?
In the next one, in Passing Pain.
Oh.
Oh wait, oh right, sorry. Yes, thank you.
So what's the total defense?
So they get 2 points of brutal damage for each wound I take.
Okay.
So my total defense is 2.
2. Okay, so they do an attack of 8, max 4. You're going to take 2 wounds. And that'll blow off 2 of their levels. You want to go ahead and make your attack back there?
Yeah. What's their defense again?
4.
Okay. I do not have a lot of great cards in my hand. I'm going to use Power from Pain. I imagine that, maybe I've been grazed a little bit. So it allows me just to pick up another card because I really need another card right now.
Okay.
Sorry. So I just picked up Ruthless. So
All
use
right.
this card in a spread, draw 1 card and has a value of 5 and use an attack spread.
Okay.
So I get to pull up another card. So this is 5. This one does not have an extra bonus. So 5, 8.
And you can you can add 2 more cards if you have more strength. And I think you can use strength and grace in your attacks.
Yeah, actually I can. So let me bump those up. So that and
Varya, the graceful barbarian.
so it's 5, 6, 9, and so 14.
14.
Yeah.
All right. You managed to take another 2 wounds off him.
I'll take it. Or the torch. Sorry.
Did you defend?
Not yet.
Okay.
Do I draw back up?
The card allowed you to, right? It said that's how that vengeance card worked, or whatever it was.
No, let me draw a card, but not draw back
That's
up.
a draw back up to your limit.
You did. Put it up to your hand limit.
I think it was just draw a card. Oh, yep, it does. I haven't actually gotten to use it for that purpose yet.
7?
7? Yeah. So, well, that means you're going to take 1 wound. No, you won't, because one won't make it through.
Cool.
And do you do 7 back to them?
Yes.
All right. So that'll take care of the last wound.
I actually had an additional 2 because I had Grimclaw, and I always forget to add that.
Now you can draw back up.
Yeah. Go ahead. But we're going to keep this going because this sort of fight is going to reactivate a few times.
Okay.
So these environmental objects are here. You don't need to worry about the torch until like their actual targets in play.
Okay.
But essentially, you manage to destroy all those constructs, and they all sort of like fall into their component parts. And you realize that at the time that you were fighting them, like the tangential ones, like way out in the distance or whatnot, were all sort of like asleep. And now they've all sort of like returning to whatever pose they were in now that these ones are all down. And you can also see that there are like slowly sort of swirling the like figures are being built out of debris around sort of hundreds of yards away from you in different directions, and they're sort of coming into play like as in the pose or shape of whatever would be appropriate for where they are. So like over where there's like a wagon wheel, like objects are knitting together to make somebody like working on it.
And they're not attacking us, though.
Only the ones that were nearby.
Oh, we need to be a little hasty then. To the mine.
Is there any of them in between us and the mine?
I mean, the mine is several hundred feet ahead of you. There's none specifically now. But I mean, they're probably in the houses or whatnot. Can I have a few more of those?
We'll just expeditiously move to the mine, I would say.
All right.
I'm gonna run back. We'll pick up another guy. Bring him with us.
Okay.
You and your pets.
You grab one. As you're like approaching the rest of the group, you can feel it sort of like struggling to life.
All right.
Put it back.
All right. Is there a thing that is triggering it, like the sun being in a certain place, or is it just like a sort of like it after a certain amount of time?
You don't necessarily know that.
Magic.
They definitely don't seem to like to be around you anymore. Like the group seems to be agitating them.
And how is it that we couldn't sense the enchantment because they're clearly enchanted?
Or at least, I mean, are you feeling it now?
Well, maybe it's. I mean,
Not a pop.
So maybe it's an older, darker kind of magic.
Perhaps.
Something very subtle.
I believe our answer lies in the mine. Loath as I am to
You
go in
and
there.
your mine, all right.
Well, where else are we going to go?
No, I agree.
Pull its arm off and stick it in its head socket.
You're so creative.
Art
Now
work.
that's art I can get behind.
Harumph.
All right, so heading towards the mine, there's sort of an outbuilding around the mine, and you can see there are patchwork miners here, with picks and whatnot, and like people, there's a like diorama, if you will, of like 2 miners sort of coming out of the mine and like clearly like looking at each other like they're having a conversation, all made out of like canvas and other sort of pieces.
Minas, not minas.
But the mine entrance is essentially a just like a big mouth in the side of the mountain, and you can the sort of road banks up into it and then heads back down again into the mountainside.
I wonder what they were mining here.
Only one way to find out.
Guess we're here for that.
You know, smack the shit out of every one of those things.
One free draw from Dom in the chat.
Aw,
Actually,
thanks.
along those lines, I think if you are gonna like start perpetrating some violence on them, I'm gonna take Dream Shadow and start like tearing holes in them and like trying to get some of the stuff out, just so they're maybe, if they do decide to animate, they're,
Kind of pre-tear them up.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I just go up and just like knock the head off of one of them on the way in.
Yeah.
It's weird because they don't seem to always be able to animate like in your presence. So sometimes you'll run over to one of them and you'll just knock a head off a mannequin essentially. And other times, like as you're getting closer to them, like it'll start to speed up and like, it'll like draw a weapon, but it won't get it out in time, and then you can just go and hit it. And then there are occasional times, like right now, where like you're sort of coming over the crest of the mine, and there's like a bunch of animated miners like with picks that come right roaring into you at full speed.
Sure.
So someone has to take the torch.
I'll take the torch. I'm going to use the hey card and
Somebody had to.
run it into a bunch of them.
Okay, I'll take. You can do brutal damage for that.
Cool. I don't really have a great spread for that, though. However,
You get so excited.
I know,
Yes.
I know. Using Grace's intellect, so that's 7.
7. Yeah, 7 is what that is.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do 3 brutal damage. That'll be 2 wound levels. So did you draw from the hay card? From the hay?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay, cool. And that's bringing you out
Oh
of
well,
hit.
then that's 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll take 2 more health levels there.
I wasn't actually hidden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you smashed a bunch of them, and then they are going to go. They're going to make another strength 8 attack at all of you,
Well, let me draw back up.
diving at you with picks and whatnot. Mac, one of the ones that like dives at you is for whatever reason made of like mostly like loose earth. So as it hits you, it just sort of like spills onto you, and it's dusty and annoying.
Oh, good. It's fur.
Yeah.
Fur is impractical, guys.
So is it 8 all or nothing?
No, it is definitely not an all or nothing. It is a standard
I can do 6.
6.
Yeah.
Take 1 wound.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to use superhuman reflexes because I'm trying to dodge
Right.
around them. I'm going to go ahead and burn a spark to pull an extra card too. And you said it was.
I believe superhuman. Does it give you 1 card or 2?
Just 1. You may burn 1 spark to draw an additional card.
Yeah, so you got 1 from it, I think. So you get 2 with superhuman reflexes. That's how fast you are.
Wait, what?
Because you're using a trait, so you draw a card.
Yeah, which
and then
I
you
just-
get it 1 more from the spark, so you draw 2 total.
Oh, okay. Doop, boop, boop. Which doesn't really matter right now, but that's the most I can do is 5 because
5?
I'm enraged as well.
Okay, so 6, 7, 8. So that's 2. So you'll just take 1 wound from that.
That's cool because that means I also get more angry.
All right.
I can use a trait card. It's just the number, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like I have a lot of
if you can't apply it, you
unrelated-
can definitely use it as the number.
Got a lot of
But it still
unrelated
counts towards
traits.
the total.
Okay, so I have to use my and what card is? Oh no, wait! I got 1 defense card. Sorry. Okay, I'm using that as from Grace.
All right. So that's what? 4? No, 3.
Yeah.
So that's 2 more wounds. But you
actually-
blow away that. Oh, what you
Is-
using?
Jesus.
are you okay with taking 2 more? Because I actually have Death Wish. I can jump in and maybe take 1 of those for you.
Because I'm getting pretty close, and I feel like we've got a lot more
Yeah.
to do here. So I would totally take you up on that.
So I'm
Thank
going to
you.
go ahead and throw
Yeah.
in Death Wish and at least try and mitigate.
Yep, you can
some
take
of
one
it.
of her wounds
Alright.
for her, sure. So you take 1 and she takes 1.
And they, again, 2 points of brutal damage for each of my wounds.
That won't get through their defense. So
That's a waste.
Since I
they.
chose to take a wound, could I flip Grimclaw?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna. I definitely going to differ from Keith there. I think that's definitely a perfectly valid.
Yeah.
If you take a wound on purpose.
Yeah.
All right. And what's your defense?
This isn't the first time Eerie's been attacked by a group of miners, so he's got some experience there.
Nice.
Drew 2, pull 1, small and quick. So that is 5, 6. And then 1 more, 9.
You're fine.
And then counterattack.
Yep. To counterattack for 9. So that is 5. So we'll take those 2. All right. Who has the torch? Whose torch is it?
Money all.
One of the 2.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Beat sticks? Okay.
Yeah, go for it. I need more cards.
Coke, Tara?
Want to switch it up?
No, I'll take her. I'm not gonna like, ooh, let's have a fun experience with Diet Coke, because there's nothing fun about Diet Coke.
No.
That was their original slogan too. There's nothing fun about Diet Coke, and then it's just like a bunch of people like with Diet Coke.
They said it was healthier.
Yeah. Arguably not. Oh. New Coke Zero. Less fun, less everything.
More carcinogenic.
I'm going to run into the group of them and try and tackle as many of them as I can into the stone well.
Okay. Draw a card from their stone well.
Yes.
We should give you a special ability where every time you involve yourself with a well, you get additional powers.
Go back where I came from.
A well, or anytime you attack a woman in the shower by like coming out of her hair.
Let's see, how much am I going to do here?
Oh my god.
Oh, is that movie out yet? The Ring versus The Grudge?
Isn't it just called Rings?
Which is
No.
called Rings.
No, it's The Ring versus The Grudge.
What?
Yeah,
That I
there's
haven't heard about.
It's like Freddy
Wait.
versus Jason, only it's the
Rings is the American movie, but Ring versus Grudge is the Japanese one. Right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think either of them are out yet. Ju-on versus.
yeah,
It's a brand new AVP.
Samara?
yeah. It's basically that, and
And
but
we
it's
didn't
not.
need the old AVP either, though.
Really did not, except the Dark Horse comic from the 1990s.
Okay,
True story.
Oh, Jesus, 11.
11. All right, 4. So that is 6. So I'll take 3 health levels from that. Ba-da-da-da.
God damn.
Stop it. This is why we can't have nice things.
One more of you gets an action before they go again.
I think it's how many? I think everyone's.
You want me to?
Did you go already?
I don't know if I attack on
Well,
this
this
round.
is a, this
Oh,
is
so-
a new round.
Yeah, it's a new
so-
cycle. So
I'm bringing a spark to stun them. Give us
Oh.
an extra turn.
all right, cool. They're stunned.
Okay.
wanna-
I guess I can
Sure.
Go.
Smashy, smashy.
smashy, smashy.
Because you started this cycle, so you can't go until.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm
I'd
gonna
also like to go
actually
next.
scoop
next
up
time.
some of the farm tools that are laying around, and I'm gonna
I was gonna do
throw it at them, and just like fling like all the shit at them. That I
Okay.
possibly can.
I'll
Plus
give
I
you
can
brutal damage for them their farm tools.
They're probably all rusted and gross by now.
You're gonna give them dull tetanus.
Hold on. So let's see. I've got a +4 to attack from Grimclaw. Put that in a 5, 3, 2, and also my wound damage. So that's 9, 14, 16, 16.
Bort. All right. Yeah, brutal damage. Yeah.
The brutalist.
Brutal.
Yep. So you basically, I mean, and it's one of those things that both either looks cool and then it doesn't look cool and then looks cool again, because like you throw the farm equipment, the farm tools at them, and then these are minor shapes, and then you hit one of them, and then they all just turn into like loose debris, which is kind of cool but also weird, because it looks like one of those movies where they are afraid to like kill real people, so everyone has to like explode into smoke or something. So
Not as satisfying.
yeah.
Parachutes.
What's that?
Parachutes.
Yeah.
It's less fun when there's blood coming out of them.
Yeah, it's like the vampire movies where like, well, the vampires can't kill everybody, so or you can't, even though they're vampires, you can't have them like be brutally stabbed. So every time you kill a vampire, it immediately turns into powder.
Oh, yeah.
Except when it wouldn't be convenient for the plot, which is a strange thing. Like in Blade, I realized recently, like everyone Blade like touches with his finger turns to powder, except when he needs to interrogate someone, and then he can basically stick them with a million stakes, and they're still okay because like the plot is holding them in the scene.
Also, Chris Christopherson is there.
Yes. Blade was bit when they were,
Yep. Yeah.
and then somehow, and didn't he like die and come back? Like, and like
No,
he's the guy who resurrects in that movie all the time.
In Blade 2, he's infected, and then they basically do that vampire detox on him.
Because doesn't he die in one though? But you find out that like the vampire Black Ops team like stole him before he could die.
I actually just watched that recently, and I
gotta
was
rewatch that.
sad that I spent that much time in my life a second time.
I watched the original Blade like 8 times in theaters. That
2.
movie
Well, that's
was
because
amazing.
original Blade
yeah.
is fine.
Blade 2 was the first movie I ever saw in the Chinese.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it set a really terrible precedent for other movies that I saw in the Chinese too.
He hates the Chinese now.
Have fun with that one, people who don't understand the cultural reference here in Los Angeles.
I think we're gonna toss him a spark for that. I'm like, damn, it's really cold.
Spark for racism.
No, oh man, Blade 1 was like a phenomenon. But yeah, Chris Robinson's great because he also is exposition man for that film for no reason.
Oh God.
Blade's mom was bit when she was pregnant with him and it changed his DNA. I don't know how I know about DNA. I'm a biker currently drinking, but I do. I've done it after I found out about vampires. I went to college and I took 8 years in
Vampire college.
Actually, what I really like is
Differential
young,
genetics.
young whiny Daryl who would go on to do Walking Dead. And he's like, the whole movie. Anyway, we just.
Sorry, we're allowed a tangent or two. If the Dark Sun team can do a tangent every 5 minutes, we're allowed to have it.
Fuck it, we're playing Vampire the Masquerade now. I've got like a crate of D10s in my car.
We're playing a Blade tribute game where we only play the tangential characters in Blade that are inexplicably not named, like the girl in white, who's like the vampire in white, who's like a major antagonist, who you don't really know who she is. Even at the end, she dies, and you're like, who was that? Deacon Frost's girlfriend, I guess, but we don't get to know.
The vampires have been animating these people.
And
Conspiracy!
that's the way it goes too with those movies. Is they always have like someone from Diantwood, like just inexplicably as a member of the. They're just like yeah, here's your big villain, Blade, and also Diantwood is here. Did you hear Diantwood like got mad at
About Suicide
Suicide Squad?
Yes. Oh, her rant was amazing, and just like the language, like, no, he was a really like we thought he was cool, but then we went to the.
I felt like I had to run that whole thing through Google Translate to
It was
understand
amazing.
what it's.
Yeah, it's worth a read. Yeah.
Diantwood is like some sort of like strange like candy for directors, where they're like, now I want to make a movie where a robot becomes Diantwood, and now Diantwood is the Joker, and now this is Diantwood, and you're like, dear God, I mean, they're an interesting looking band, but for fuck's sake, stop like masturbating with Diantwood and make an actual film.
Pride and Prejudice and Diantwood.
Whatever, we'd all be in the theater watching.
Yeah, we would. Especially if for no reason there was multiple Diantwoods.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's like 20 of each member of the two of them.
It's the next Matrix movie, and Mr. Anderson, but it's all Diantwood.
Mr. Antwood,
Oh, God.
the Matrix.
In South Africa, we don't have the Matrix.
All right, sorry.
Sorry, no, I don't regret any of what we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
that was well worth it. It was
I
good.
mean, we just destroyed people made out of literal crap. So.
Yep. Good TV, this. All right, so I'm going to remove these objects as you're going too far into the cave now to reach them.
We've gone
No,
too
but my
far.
coid wind.
Your coid wind. The coid wind. If you can find a reason to use coid wind, you can. That's still a valid choice.
That's my Star Wars character.
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow them all
Coid wind.
down.
Oh, I love it! Oh my God, I might give you a spark for that.
Well, they are made of sticks. If they were made of bricks, I couldn't do it.
You don't know
love it
they're
so
well,
much.
it's true. Yeah.
Wow, that's more apropos than I thought when I designed these characters.
All right, so we're in the mine.
Yep.
Right,
The
right.
lost mine of Fen
Super
Delver.
spooky. Yeah.
All right, into the mine you go. This is like a mine, like this is your sort of mine out of like a TV show mine, not like an actual mine where like there's 4 feet of head space and it's like pitch black and like shales falling off the walls. Like this is like a cave that like dwarves pick on the sides
It's
of.
the Mines of Moria.
Yeah, this is the way that mines aren't ever but are in TV. So you're progressing into the mine, and what do you do?
Do they have carts of whatever it was they were actually mining out of this?
Yes, they do. And it's basically metal ore as far as you can tell. I mean, I suppose one of you can make an appropriate spread if you wanted to figure out what it is, but it's probably steel or iron ore. I mean, you're observing it now for free. It's being able to identify the ore is a different
Deception?
Yeah. You can definitely lie to your
This fool's
teammate.
gold.
I just, I wonder if what they had in here is maybe amplifying whatever it is that's causing it.
Sure, I mean, there's dark things that live in the earth, and if they displeased something, who knows what could have happened. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. I realize I'm saying that a lot today. But it continues to be true.
It's a strange situation.
I made you that Mac Beauvais that last time we were at Fire.
You two. All right, so definitely the shippiest characters we have on it.
I like the crunchy outside part. The creme brulee was a metaphor for me.
She's chalking on the inside. All right, so all right, so
Yeah, I don't have anything.
All right, we got a little punch drunk, but I like it. It's a Saturday. What do you want? They can't all be Keith Baker. All right, so
You're doing great.
thanks. All right, so you're heading deep into the mine. There are occasional mine carts, like wooden mine carts. But as you get further down into the mine carts themselves have all sort of like been disintegrated, basically, and the occasional sort of wicker miner, if you will, is made out of like pieces of stone and minecart pieces, and like, instead of their head is like two minecart wheels, and under the helmet and whatnot. So the raw materials here, being few and far between, are getting sort of more spread out.
Are there any tracks of comings and goings in the mine?
It's harder to track down here than it is on the surface, but you can definitely tell that like there's travel has been heading out of the mine at a pretty steady pace. Not always humanoid footprints.
That's not good. I mean, like, how not humanoid is not humanoid?
Well, I mean, for lack of a better term, like what we would see as like almost like robot footprints. Like these constructs have been walking out of here, so it's like
Got it. Okay.
It's a piece of girder. Not that girder exists in this time period, but you get the idea. Like this.
So there's probably some sort of physical entity that's responsible for this.
Have to be.
I'm gonna go back and start pushing one of those mine carts down. Just
Okay.
trying to pick up speed, try and get it going as fast as I can. And
Which
just
is
like
pretty fast.
hop on it and then just ride
Okay.
it all the way down.
Does anyone want to join him, or does he?
No, I'll go with him for sure.
Okay.
I'm like, Eerie?
Either of the two of you.
Lord. I'm going to go chasing after them. But
I like
I'm
the
not
idea-
going to get in the runaway mine cart.
Okay. I like the idea that you transition from like humanoid run to like full on Wolven run as it starts to really need to go.
Well, because they might need someone to stop it at some point because we don't know where it's headed.
What about you?
Yeah, let's do this. I'm not leaving everybody alone.
Okay. All three of you that are not Mac, that are not Varya, need to make a grace check. A grace spread, as essentially the whatever was stealing raw materials steals the tracks after some distance, and so it basically just goes wildly off the rails and like sort of like starts to careen into the side.
Okay.
I also have superhuman reflexes. Can I kind of try and jump in and try and stop
You can
it from going
add
too
one
crazy?
to any of these spreads.
10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try and like help course correct.
What was that? What are you using for the?
5 and then untouchable. This card has a value of 5 when it is used in a defense spread.
That'll count for this. It's not a defense spread, but it'll definitely count for this.
Okay.
And you're fine with 10. We'll say 10's the total, the goal.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So you had how many?
Shoot. I don't have much grace, so I'm going to burn a spark to add 5 to my skill.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So do you want to add that?
Yeah.
Okay. So she scoops you out of the air, and you are fine.
Thanks.
2, 3, 7.
All right, you just barely make it as well. As the minecart goes ass over tea kettle.
Worth it.
Mola ram?
And it crashes into the sides of the wall and like bends out of shape. It's made of wood. It's not like a metal minecart. And like the like screws and whatnot, they're like holding it together, and the wooden slats all fall apart. And you can already see like because the screws can roll, they're starting to roll down towards the center of the mine, and not just because it's like on an incline. Like whatever this force is starting to pull those raw materials towards them. Your necklace like sort of like arcs out on the chain. Ooh. As like any small object is sort of pulled down towards the center of the mine. You notice it's starting to get darker in here. Obviously, you're deeper underground, but also because out the way you came, an increasingly large group of Wicker soldiers is sort of slowly marching into the mouth of the mine and following you down.
Of course they are.
All right.
But they're not moving very fast at all. Even at fully animated, like even when they're like not like doing the the don't blink style action, they don't go very fast. Even when they're not copyright infringing on Doctor Who.
Well, we definitely have to continue now.
Idalia, can you provide a little light?
Absolutely.
I'll give you that one for free.
Whatever. Animal eye shine.
Blade Runner dog eyes.
After a time, the mine, sort of like the mined out section of the mine, basically starts to sort of taper down, where this is obviously about as far as they were able to go. But at some distance from the edge of that, like as imagine it's like actually just coming to a point, there's a door-sized or like person-sized hole in the side of the wall where it's clear the rough, like sort of natural exterior of the mine is matched with like a man-made sort of like wall size, where basically like they knocked into some sort of structure. And you can see like one of the simple screws that holds together the minecart like rolls up to the lip of that door, which is almost as big as this table here, and then just sort of like rolls up it, and then over the lip, and then starts rolling down the hallway of inside there.
Well, I guess we have to follow the screws.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on a second here. I'm blowing up. I should turn my phone off as it is, but just in case.
Actually, can I propose a wee break, maybe?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's take 5. Who wants to plug
wee
stuff at
break?
camera?
I think I'm going to take advantage just because Kit's better. So. I'm not the best.
So Chan, tell us about the 101 and what it will be when we get there.
Ooh. It's a podcast where the idea is that we're going to ask all the questions that the questions that every minority hates to hear.
Okay.
Questions like what is rape culture? That was actually the first episode we recorded. So that when you get into arguments, a lot of times you just kind of have to like fuck man, read a book or look this shit up. Like I don't have the time, and it's not my responsibility to educate you. So yeah, the idea is that we'll cover all of those topics at something, all the difficult topics, all the ones that you're afraid to ask, or fear, like, hey, can I touch your hair? That sort of thing.
That blows my mind that that's actually a thing.
That is
like,
legit
I've been
a thing.
A lot of stuff, and I believe it's really a thing. But it's the sort of thing that I go, who the F would ever think that was okay? Like,
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah. It's me, Iffy Wadaway. I don't know if you know him.
I know Iffy, yeah.
And Greg Jones. They both do a lot of stuff at UCB.
Is Greg
stand-up and all
Jones
that.
playing the idiot character? Like, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is. That was the idea, is that we would get in dumb white guy to ask as many dumb questions as possible.
Right.
In a completely safe space so that we can answer all of the questions. And yeah, we're going to be going up at Boardwalk Audio, which is also the place that does Meet Improv and what is the other show? You Should Love Wrestling. There's a couple other shows. There's a not Sailor. No, is it? Yeah, it's a Sailor Moon recap podcast. There's some other stuff. It's a great network, so we're going to be doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great idea though, because it comes up over and over again with so many of these questions, and people don't have calm, informed, dialogues about them.
Is going to be common form dialogues, Chan?
It is.
But you know what I mean, though. I mean, like
Yeah.
actually having a conversation rather than just it being "fuck you," well, fuck
Right.
you back.
Right, exactly. Both me and Iffy are prone to getting a little outraged, but we're dialing it back. It's going to be adorable.
Righteous outrage.
And where's the science jerks now?
Still going. We're on almost to episode 200.
Wow.
We might do a live show. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a fun show. And then we've had for Knowing Is Half the Podcast, we've had Buzz Dixon, who is the story editor, basically like the head writer of the show, on a few times now. Flint Dilley, who wrote there, then was the head writer of the Transformers, and now works at Niantic.
Okay.
So we were asking him a bunch of Pokemon questions when he was on. And now he's starting to write a book about his experiences from the 80s, because basically Sunbow Studios, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Inhumanoids, Gem, My Little Pony, there's a couple other shows. Basically all the writers wrote for all of the shows. So just this huge mass of 80s culture is just sitting there.
It's like a cartoon grindhouse.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been picking their brains, and that's been a lot of fun.
Way back in the day on one of the Comics and Comics podcasts, we had the guy on who who wrote the Transformers movie.
Yeah, that's Flint Dilley.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about the decision to kill Optimus Prime, and how it was the entirely toyetically based decision, and no one really understood the ramifications of it when they did it. And maybe someone in the room's like, "Do you think this is going to scar children?" And someone's like, "Nah," but we'll get but Rodimus Prime will sell great toys, and then. So
it ended up fucking up the G.I. Joe movie.
Oh yeah,
because they're like, we can't ever do that ever again. That's a terrible idea. So
we will continue the world where every time someone blows up a Cobra ship, a person with a parachute comes flying out. Man, I used to remember as a kid, talk about early curmudgeon. I would watch the GI Joes, the lasers going back and forth, and and I'd always be like, no one is getting hit at all. And there's so many lasers. There's so many the GI Joes and the Cobras would exchange 40 million laser shots in one barrage, and no one would ever get hit.
Only Imperial Stormtroopers.
Yeah, to be so precise.
They have,
same track there.
stories about how they tried to get through violence there and just kept getting shut down by the studios. Nope, absolutely not. And then,
I do remember though that didn't Serpentor kill someone by throwing
He threw a snake in Duke's heart.
Yeah.
But they animated it so that he would die, and then because the Transformers movie came out while they're still in production, they're like, and then so you can see their mouths moving, but they're saying different words because they're like, Duke is in a coma. And he was back next season.
Great. I don't think we do enough as a culture to appreciate how bad the G.I. Joe movies were. The modern G.I. Joe films were really terrifyingly bad.
Like kind of fun, awful bad. I'm going to drink a lot and watch this.
Yeah. I mean, but that's true of the Transformers films, which everyone admits are bad. Yeah. And the Transformers films are really bad, but the G.I. Joe movies are sickeningly, oddly bad, written in haste, sort of bad, and
yeah. But I think there's been a zeitgeist about Transformers that hasn't existed for the G.I. Joe movies.
I also think the G.I. Joe movies probably cost half as much.
Yeah.
They had that look about them.
Because I'd heard him, I avoided it, but you're saying it's probably worth it on a sort of drunken.
I actually went and saw it at a preview before it even came out, and I'm like, that was awful. I had a great time.
All right.
The first one is just so weird, like with the blue lips, Storm Shadow or whatever it is.
It was just weird action movie, people punching other people, and hey, what if we did this thing? It would look really cool on screen. Okay, let's do that. That's pretty much all it was. Just what would look cool on screen? The movie.
Stephen Sommers, I like The Mummy, and I like the first G.I. Joe movie. Everything else he's done has just been a shit show. And I don't know what it is, because every time I'm like, I will not watch this movie. And then every once in a while I'll do one. I'm like, oh, yeah, this worked for me. And I don't know why I feel bad about it, but...
Don't get me wrong, like, I could probably watch the entire first G.I. Joe movie specifically because of the Baroness, who is always good TV.
Also, Cobra Commander is fantastic. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Cobra Commander. That's amazing.
Yes, true.
JGO.
All right. So you've found this door into some other structure in the mines. Behind you, you can hear like the increasingly rapid footsteps of the constructs heading down the mine shaft towards you. What do you want to do?
We have to keep following him, but we could at least maybe use the door as a barricade behind us.
I agree. We're going to be outnumbered very quickly with what we know is behind us, to say nothing of what's ahead of us.
We want to block ourselves into this, though?
So what we did the last time that we were fighting stuff. Would you rather come in and say hello?
I thought if we slice these guys to bits and send them in first, in tiny bits that are
Which
apparently
are
gravitating
being
to this.
reconstructed into something. It might just make it so there's an even bigger whatever it is on the other side of the door.
I'm not loving these options. Okay.
Do we ever?
You got a point.
Is there still any of the track left?
There's like sections of the track that are too long to like be sucked into these constructs. Yeah.
I'm going to rip off, I don't know, a couple like 10, 15-foot sections.
Okay.
Bring it in and just go through that door.
Okay.
And barricade it from the other side.
All right.
I think it's our only real option.
Yep.
So this is clearly some sort of man-made structure with stone sort of hewn walls. It's not clear whether it was cut into the mountain or whether the mountain somehow grew around it or whether it made its way into the mountain at a later date. It starts out as a relatively small hallway but gets progressively more expansive as you continue. There are a couple other passages that sort of head off it, but they've all collapsed. And it's heading towards a sort of central point. Unless anyone wants to do anything else, we'll keep going.
Unless you think ascertaining what the structure is. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd love to. Can I do a lore spread?
Yeah, certainly.
All right, so that's +5. Also the smartest person in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Gives me a +5, so that's
at least he thinks he is.
10.
The Dawn thinks he is.
Let's make that 15 altogether.
Okay. This definitely looks like architecture that you would have recognized as being early Imperium, and probably like designed by the same sort of folks that would be working with phoenixes. I mean, it's not. This doesn't seem like esoteric or apocryphal architecture.
Non-Euclidean.
Yeah. No. This isn't some dark cult didn't make this. This seems like the kind of stuff that would have been built purposely by an established governmental source around these times. But it definitely has the sort of trappings of like when magic was used willy-nilly and without regard.
It's very old and arguably very dangerous.
Thanks for the insight. Helpful as always.
I hope one of you spends time in each other's heads again. That's going to be a real fun game. All right, so you continue on down the hallway, and you reach. There's a number of sort of chambers that have like this sort of alcoves that are sort of like cut out of the rocks, and you make a tradition spread.
Oh wait, no. Can I do any?
I believe technically it is an intellect spread, but you can do.
Oh, cool.
I believe you can use grace in any tradition spread, so you can use both.
Right on. I think that's 5 too on top of that.
Yep.
15?
Yeah.
So these are traditional sort of memorial carvings. Like they're sort of like permanent memory anchors of like different specific events. So these show like major events from the Empire that have been like carved into these alcoves. And normally there would be a bunch of sort of objects here that would be like almost like a time capsule. So you'd be like, okay, this was the Battle of Blank, and here's a helmet from it, and here's a this from it, and here's a that. And they're all going to live here in this alcove so that we can always remember these times. But none of the objects are there. It's just a blank alcove. And there's one every 5 or 10 feet for several hundred feet as you go further into the mountain.
So someone's taken... Would there be something that's interested in these artifacts for some reason?
Or it's using them to reconstruct something.
Or perhaps one of the artifacts is the source behind this.
Magical.
Maybe it's just a bunch of fucking holes.
That is also a distinct possibility.
You continue down, and eventually you head to what starts looking like a sort of temple area, and it's ornate. There are at this point you can notice that there are windows here, but they open up to like raw rock, so it's not clear what exactly happened. Yeah, it's rock! Raw rock!
That's you from the mine!
You can still hear the footsteps of the constructs, like, at the far distance heading in through the walls of the building. And there's a central, like a large central room, and in the middle of it is what appears to be sort of like an altar space. And around it, you can see, made out of this sort of constructed material that you're now familiar with, what almost look like dioramas, like scenes from life at the time that this place must have been sealed. So there's like a table with like a family sitting at it, and they're like exchanging dinner, and they're like looking up at a particular sort of sunset, but it's all made out of like just like it's it looks normal, and then you look at it right and it's like, oh no wait, actually the table is made out of like different pieces of stone, and like there's a piece from the track that is like sort of the spine of the dad character, and the picture they're looking at is actually just sand held to the wall like a sort of mosaic by whatever this magic is. And then over there there'll be like like a soldier getting ready for battle, and then over there it basically looks like a museum is sort of like building itself out into this room. And in the center of the room there's a like a blue glass sphere about the size of like a beach ball, and it's sort of like slowly floating as if it's being held by the gravity of the objects around it. And it's you can occasionally see flashes in it, and the flashes look to you like moments from your own memories. So you'll see like in the glass like your first death, or in the glass like a time with your family before your death, or you'll even see just a few weeks ago. And the like as you're sitting there, the animating force here is obviously much stronger. So like slowly but surely, those screws that you're following like roll over and fly into one of these dioramas, and sort of held together is like and you can see maybe it's like a soldier. No, it's a man making like inventing something. Like he's got like a eureka pose, and there's an object in front of him, and the object is like slowly forming together.
It's damn peculiar.
Are any of them dioramas with a little boy putting a boot on a soldier?
No, are they going to be?
Let me ask you this: is it within touch-in range?
Yeah, you could run up and try and grab it.
No, I drew psychometry again.
Okay.
So I'm going to burn 2 sparks and try and learn the purpose and history of the object that I am touching.
Which is going to be which? The sphere?
Yeah.
All right, you run out to it. You can feel like it doesn't want you to get near it as you get closer, but you manage to get there before it can do much about it.
Okay.
This is the name for this creature is the magpie, but it was a magical construct that was designed by like a first era magicians to maintain a memory log of that war and what was going on in their world, and then it was somehow sealed here in this crypt. Where over time the magic, with nothing to do and nothing to do it with, essentially became corrupted. So it slowly dragged all the items from all the different dioramas that you passed along the way in here. It did its best with that, and then barring that, it's trying to sort of make its memories real by reconstructing what it can from nearby objects.
Right, I can only think V'ger for some reason.
It has that kind of feel to it. You also get a sort of burst of imagery of like wicker soldiers marching out of the mine, like made out of like mining materials, and basically taking the town that had sort of opened up the door to it, dragging all the people back here where their life essence was used to continue powering the construct, and then in some sort of like trying to make better of it, being replaced by the construct. And in case you're wondering, the reason that you can't get a beat on it is that it's all emanating out from here. So the more constructs it builds and the further the way they go, the more stretched out it is.
Okay.
So by the time you got to that other town, it was like sort of at the extent of its influence currently. But the more it takes, the better it does.
Is there a way to communicate with it? I mean, it's not like sentient in a way.
It isn't. It's essentially a machine.
Yeah, it's a program.
It's just doing what it's doing.
Okay.
Please make me a gray spread. You.
Me. Okay.
Yeah, make me a gray spread.
Is there a number I'm aiming for?
15.
I can't quite do that.
Okay.
I can do 11.
You do 11?
help?
That's the best I can do.
Wait, I can. I still have it. If I can add 3 to your spread
Okay.
when I discard this.
Do it.
3.
So that is what, 14?
14?
Can
Yeah.
someone give you one more?
I would go with the spark.
All
I
right.
don't have anything.
Well, what you do is you basically spend the spark either way, but you've prevented the machine from pulling it from you, because you can, once you have contact with it, it's like, ooh, energy, and it's sort of, and you can feel it trying to drag out the spark from you. So you use the fullness of your control of your own internal fire to
Nope.
like, no,
Nope
not for
means
me.
nope, magpie.
Yeah, and eventually you have to burn the energy rather than let it have it, but it
Right.
prevents it from, say, getting a big leg up on you.
And I kind of pull my hand back and everything he just said, but in my voice.
Do with it.
Well, as
You
you're
sound just like that. Good one.
as you're explaining it, like the sphere sort of seems to energize, and like arcs of magical energy like arc off it, and you get the real distinct impression that it's starting to feel threatened by you, that it can't complete its task. And so like a bolt of energy arcs out and hits one of the dioramas, and the diorama, which is like kids playing chess or something, disincorporates and then sort of shifts back together into a sort of like dangerous looking constructed night creature. It's not actually Cars the Dread Knight, because they are very specific, but that is what it looks like. At the same time, the remaining troops from the Wicker troops come pouring in from the other side as well. So we're gonna do.
Well, someone's going to need to figure out if we can destroy this orb without, causing it to suck life force from us.
And I just have to ask, because saving lives, there's I don't suppose there's any way to give that life force back from where the sphere took it. I mean,
Where you gonna put it?
should we assume? Should we assume that these souls are just gone?
Kind of getting that feeling.
Yeah, I had to ask.
Well, if somebody maybe a little bit better on the magic side wants to figure out how we destroy the orb, we can get to work on taking down, the surrounding constructs here.
All right, so let me see. I'm trying to think.
You want to start?
Sure. So
I want to go next, by the way, if that's okay.
Sure,
I'm just.
but only if I get more M&Ms.
Let me see. So I'm basically just getting a better sense.
But by way of me.
Oh, wait.
I'm gonna eat all of them.
Okay, do it.
Fill up the horn.
That's what it's for,
Plink
right?
plunk, plink plunk.
That's one of them there.
Mead and
Horns
M&Ms.
are plenty.
Okay, so I guess I just want to get a better sense of what this, how this force interacts with things and what, might happen if it's released from the sphere.
Okay.
And then I get to add 5 to that, 10, 18.
Why?
And
Why are we-
since we're about to really because we're going to do whatever we're going to do next, I'm going to throw out a spark to add another 5 to that. So we know what we're getting into.
Okay. You feel like, first off, you feel like the, at this point, there's no way to extricate the energy that it stole from those people back out into the world. I mean, you could release it, but they have no bodies to fill.
Boo.
Somewhere in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I could get the magpie to build them bodies, and then we could have a bunch of people who are made out of seashells. But that seems like a terrible idea. So the real answer is they're dead. You think that the magical construct, while it might have value, is the animating force behind this. It doesn't. There's no. It's not holding the energy, and once you destroy it, the energy will be free, and it will go do its own thing. It's generating or using the energy. So if you can destroy the magpie, it will end this problem.
Good to know.
Cool. My turn?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm flipping over Dream Shadow to become hidden. So the cloak goes up. You can feel me by your side. And I say, I'm going to protect you because I feel you might be our only hope in this situation.
Sounds
This can
good.
take care of
I'll
themselves.
take
So you, my friend, now have a protective ward on you. And until the end of the scene, whenever a warded ally takes wounds, I can burn a spark to take the wound.
Ooh.
Since you're hurting.
Are you just
Thanks.
hiding behind her?
I'm hiding next to her.
You
I'm
such a
here.
punk ass.
I'm right here. You got this.
Go get him. Go get him.
Are you gonna do? You can make spreads too. You don't have to do anything else. You can do more than that in turn.
I'm
For you.
well aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So the enemies are gonna go then. The big sort of dangerous-looking sort of golem creature is going to come marching at. Well, it can't see you, and you're looking innocuous, so it's going to go after you. So this is a attack 9, standard attack.
Blur out motion.
Nothing.
What do you do?
3, 7, and let's go 10.
All right. You easily dodge that attack, and you're going to hit him back
Yep.
for 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is 4, so 2 health levels off that, which is not bad. And then everyone, including you again, has to make a defense 8
Okay.
as the rando soldiers come pouring in. Oh, not you, sorry, Mike, they can't see you.
Okay. And I could have. And I may have to yet.
Yeah?
Shoot.
Totes Rando is also another Star Wars character. I'm going to say it.
Coach Rando.
Totes Rando. He's a swoop racer, you know.
I still think Kikamon Soy was my favorite.
Although Coid Wind.
Yeah.
Coid
Coin Wind.
All right.
Awesome
Well,
attack.
I can generally only play one, but I did pull up the Vengeful card again.
Okay,
So I'm going to play that. I'm going to burn 2 sparks so I can make an attack back against them.
okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and put in that Grace card as well, so I have at least 5 trying to mitigate some damage.
Okay, so that's 1 wound that you'll take from that.
Okay. Draw back up here.
Oh, I think I owe you a spark, by the way. for protective or for warding.
Do you what does it say you?
I burn a spark to put the ward
turn
on
it
her,
on.
and then it's burning sparks to take
And
wounds,
then
but
I'll
I don't
attack
think
them
I
back
give you.
after he's done with his.
Don't get hurt too much, please.
I'm working on it here.
5.
So I take 1.
5. All right, so that's another 1 wound there.
I'm gonna burn 2 sparks to add
Wait.
to my.
I'm a dummy. Sorry, no. I'm going to add a trait to your spread.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
And that's Astonishing Luck, which gives you +4.
Ooh, cool. Okay, maybe I should hang on to my spark. Because I only get to do.
I took the damage back from
2
your
defense.
return
All right.
strike.
Oh.
Ah, cool.
So yeah,
Keep
she's
on
good.
spark.
Okay.
Nuts.
So Idalia's fine. Go ahead and attack back.
Okay, so I have automatically 7 plus
yeah, I
4
kind of
is 11.
Sweep you under my cape for a second.
14,
Cool.
and yeah, go ahead and do 16.
16. All right. So that will
Oh, actually, wait, 16, 17, 18, 19.
19. All right. So that basically kills one group of the soldiers, but unfortunately they just sort of reconstruct into one of those sort of golem characters as the raw materials becomes available. So
I'll do
Gotta get that orb down.
so who's got the torch next?
I've got the torch.
Okay. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna swing my hook, attach it to the scaffold, and just try and drag it down onto the orb.
Okay. Go ahead and knock
Cross
on
that shit off, yo.
Cross it off. Hey, scaffold. Draw a card and that's an attack.
Oh, I'm just ready for the.
Oh, I actually go next. I had an attack only because they attacked me.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
counter
okay.
attack.
So I'm sorry, you'll have to wait until I finish Smashy.
Itching a smear.
10.
10.
I'll defer to
or,
your
let's see.
brutality.
Do I
apologize.
need like to
No.
drag the thing down? Or I'm attacking the orb, right?
Yeah, you're attacking the orb.
Okay.
So just counts as an attack.
Yeah, then 14.
14?
Yeah.
Okay, that it sort of smashes around the orb, and it definitely seems to do it some damage, but it as more debris is formed from the scaffolding, it sort of like flies into one of the golems. So it's definitely it's not physically cracked, but you can feel like it was a successful attack, but it wasn't not to great effect.
Okay,
Right.
against the orb there, is that what you went after? I don't know if I should go after the orb or the other dudes. You guys are probably more equipped to deal with the orb, though. I'm going to try and keep the bad guys off of you.
think
So I'm
that's
going to go to the mining equipment, and I'm going to grab a couple of the pickaxes, one in each hand, and lay into them.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Go ahead and be brutal and draw the card.
Okay, so let's see. I'm also going to use Power from Pain, which lets me draw a card, and also all wounds add to the value of the card, so I basically get double wound damage. I'll save that one for right now. So, to do some mathing here. And then I get another card because of that guy. That. So, okay, there's a lot of numbers here.
Okay.
So, 7, 11, 19, 4, so 23.
Zoot allures.
All right. Well, unsurprisingly, you basically sort of take 2 of those golems and like dissipate them into the areas around them, but they slowly start spinning back up, of course,
Sure.
right after that. But that's going to prevent them from attacking this round. So who is next?
You wanted
I'll
that?
take it.
Oh, sorry. The Wicker soldiers still do attack though, so that's a strength 8 against everyone who's not hidden.
Do I have to, can I draw back up yet or no?
Yeah, because your turn ended, so
Cool.
you can go
Just
ahead
making
and draw up before you do it. So strength 8 defense.
I can't help you right now.
Okay, no, I think I got something, maybe.
Small and quick for 5 defense, then 8.
Okay, you're fine.
All right, me too?
Yep.
8, you say?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then kick back.
Really?
What was that? Oh yeah,
to 8.
they're going down.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and defend here, then I'm going to go ahead and use Horrific Vision.
Okay.
So it means we're both exposed, which kind of sucks, but it does let me put down another card in my defense. So
Okay.
got 5.
5.
Yeah, I can't
another
defend
wound.
it all.
And now you won't be able to defend it all going forward.
Yeah, but also I do have a new talent, so that should be fun. The more banged up I get, the more awesomeness. Gotta transfer some of those wounds over there.
Yeah.
Okay, I only get to
The
use
matter
2
Varya
grace
gets, the
cards
stronger she gets.
in my defense. I'm trying to get some wounds on these guys, but I can't do it this way.
Yeah, you have to attack.
Yeah. Oh, and I've only got these 2 guys, and I can't turn my intellect. Oh wait, no, I can't. I got these guys, and +2 defense for my Talon.
Okay, so it's 5, 6. So that's going to be 1 wound. Or do you want it, Mike?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right.
Oh, buddy,
I'm also running out
buddy.
of sparks.
All right, so good job there. And is it your turn, Idalia?
Yeah.
All right, so what are you going to do?
So I'm keeping at work on the sphere.
Yeah, please.
So,
Making it rain.
I can take a lot.
All in.
so I see the rock slide, and I decide I do a blast to kind of heat up the rocks, and with kind of a push of my gravity, I slam them into the sphere.
All right, this will be brutal damage.
That's right. All right. So attack 2 and 1.
And this is passing pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. And then you need the good cards. That's the problem. All right. So
You got redraws too if you need them.
You
Let's
could
do.
say it's the
And you got
luck
your own.
of the draw.
More of that raw rock. That is,
Okay, so I've got so I can draw that for this
Yeah.
current. Oh, hallelujah! Thank you.
so
All
draw
right.
a card.
Oh, look at that! It's a 1.
Yeah, but it's a trade.
It is a trait for a skill spread.
What's the trait though?
Intuitive.
Okay, you can still make an intuitive attack. So it won't count to your spread, and it'll draw you a card.
Okay, so because I know that this is that this is how these things they need heat. So
All right, so draw a card, yeah. And now you still
then
have
I get another-
one more card left in the spread.
yeah, and all I can only do 2 on these,
Yeah.
or
you-
intellects on these. Sorry. So I might add my guy
So
here.
that's 4, 5, 6, and then you're gonna pass pain.
Yeah, so but it has to be in a successful attack. So
That's you hit it.
yay. Each wound inflicts 3 brutal damage to my target
And I think you owe me 3 sparks.
per wound. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay. All right.
Yes, please
Alright.
take wounds because you may need to help absorb stuff.
I'm gonna ward you next.
Well,
I don't mind being a little.
the rocks themselves do a sort of reasonable amount of damage to the sphere, but once you're sort of like passing it, once you're sucking all the wounds off your body with gravity and redistributing them, those clearly have some sort of effect. So you can see the sphere almost like gets older and dirtier and worse, and then the memories that are reflected back in it as you're sort of watching the sphere seem like they're almost like they're faded, weird, tenuous memories. Like you see a picture of you and your former lover, but it's not your lover. But wait, who was that? The sphere is forgetting. It can't remember what's going on. The dioramas get crappier.
This is bad art, guys. I'll admit to it too.
One of the
It's a
kids.
technical storytelling term.
One of the kids is showing.
I was just gonna say that.
Pipe cleaners.
One of the kids is showing another kid something in a book, but now the book has been replaced by another arm. He's like, an arm, and it's just it doesn't make any sense.
Show
and
and tell at school's getting weird.
It all gets very strange. So so that was a very good attack.
Yay.
And you're
doing
wound
that.
free. Do you want to pass the torch?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll take it.
So the sphere is going to try and draw in sparks from all of you. So you need to make a grace spread, and that's going to be a grace spread of 15 or lose a spark.
I'm
Here's
gonna,
the fucking
Yeah.
spark, Sax.
I'm gonna use a draw.
Okay. Mike might be able to pull it off.
No.
No.
I can't.
I got 9.
9.
Yeah. So here.
All right.
I got 9 too.
All right, so the
only
sphere
3.
sort of like manages to sort of hold itself in the world a little bit by drawing off some of your own energy, but it doesn't seem to get any healthier. So it's still on the way out. And then you got one more action before the Thingamadoo's attack. So who's got it? Is it you, Mike?
Yeah, and I'm gonna run over to Varya here, and you don't see me. You just kind of hear me. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna protect you.
Damn it. Oh god, at least it's not in my head again.
There's one.
All
So
right.
now you've got a ward too, so I can
Oh.
take some wounds.
Thank you.
All right,
Like
so-
I died
I
today.
can take this
Wow.
many wounds, and then I die again.
All right.
Don't die
And then I'll be your attendant spirit.
I'm excited.
Well, actually,
Can't die! For the love of God, kill the orb!
All right, so
Working on it. Jeez.
these are defenses against the golems. A golem is attacking you, Idalia, and a golem is attacking you. So that's a defense against 9. That is a standard defense. And then, are you still hidden? Okay, so, and then everyone else, well, I guess, basically, the two of you are also going to have a defense 8 after this, because you're getting attacked by the mob. So, if you...
And we can't redraw.
You can't redraw. So, and that's going to be a max of 2 wounds, just so you know. So, but you have a defense 8. But you can't defend at all, right? Is that what's happening?
Maybe.
Okay.
Unless I'm suddenly not enraged.
Well, you're certainly enraged, but do you have anything you can use?
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
So I've got, with my talent, I've got 9. Can I get through?
All right, so Mike will have to take one of your wounds, or both, or you're going to go down. Because you're going to take 2 wounds from the mob. All right.
Are you
All right.
taking both of them?
Aw.
Oy. Thank
too.
you, but also...
I'm
Please
just
don't be
looking
in my
at
head
them with,
again.
like,
Please
this
don't be in my
batting
head again.
So do you have a defensive 9? What was that?
That was 9, yeah.
That was 9. Okay. Do you have a defensive 8 after that?
Okay. Yes. Oh wait. Oh.
Did you draw up?
I did, because I had
Oh.
one, so but I know which one that was. So.
Same for you, Chan. 9 and 8.
I got the 9.
Oh.
Okay. So you're going to take 2 wounds
Should I
from the
take
8.
that extra grace card, but it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, all right.
But they'll also take you disincorporate that one from your defense in the first one.
With my talent, I've got 6.
Take 1 wound. Ain't bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay. So whose torch is it? Okay.
I'm going to dive into the gloom.
Okay.
And I don't know how effective this is going to be, but it seems to have difficulty dealing with dark memories. So I'm going to try and focus on the memories of my years in that second crucible.
Okay.
Specifically, there are memories of the of being in a, what do you call that? Like a meat locker.
Okay.
Where they're the yeah, where like, you know, like sides of beef are hanging on
Okay.
on the chains, and it was a dark and very scary time, and just using those repeated memories.
Okay. That's a grace spread to force that out.
Let's see what happens.
Wow.
So what is that? Is attack?
Yeah. No. It's a grace spread, so it's 3
Okay.
total.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm next anyway.
So you overwhelm the magpie with your terrible. Oh, did you draw from the gloom, by the way?
Oh, I didn't know.
You overwhelm the magpie with your terrible memories of your twisted childhood, and everyone outside of it. Well, you're sort of like diving into the gloom, and like, you know, I don't know. Does it have a verbal component, or are you just like thinking really hard?
It's the curling up and to redraw those memories of hiding in the dark.
All right. Basically, all the objects in the room, including like those objects that are making up the golems, shift into like a sort of rudimentary meat locker set, basically, with like from the ceiling comes like constructed bar hooks that sort of come down, and you basically force the temple to look like a meat locker for a second, but it stuns all the monsters, so you're fine there. And it's also creepy as fuck. All right, whose torch is it?
It's mine.
All right.
So the orb really wasn't affected by like normal attacks.
Physical
right?
damage doesn't do much to it.
Okay. I'm gonna see. Is the altar something where I can actually pick it up and swing it at a wide swath of everybody?
Well, with a big enough strength spread, yes, of course.
I have a very interesting strength spread right
Okay.
now, so.
Go ahead and draw. One environmental object left. Good job.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a foul river.
So this is gonna be fun. So I have crude but effective.
Yep, that is definitely the definition of that.
I
In
also
fact,
have my root.
There you go. That was the most apropos use of crude but effective. You're literally using the bluntest, largest objects you can find.
I also have ruthless.
Okay. Yep.
So
We all know that works for you all the time.
Yes.
In life and in this game.
Which allows me to also draw a card. Ooh, I'm not going to use that one right now, though. And then I'm going to go ahead, play the 5 and the 4. I'm going to play a grace card in there as well. So it's a lot of numbers that I have. So
I'm just going to go ahead and say you disincorporate all the constructs. So you bought yourself some time.
I'm curious now. I need to know, though.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
did a lot.
So that's 8 plus another 5 is 15, and then this is another 5, so 18, plus another 4 of those is 22, 27,
34.
34.
All right, yeah, pretty good. Boom. You like scatter all the pieces, so you guys can keep passing the torch. The magpie can't put it together.
All right.
Somebody please make the magpie go away before we finish dying, though.
Since this thing seems to go by pretty unconventional methods, I'm going to see what a dip in that gross river does for it. So I
Do you want to grab some wounds to apply?
Yeah, I'll take.
It seemed to really not like those.
Yeah, let me take. How many rooms can I take?
Remember, you need to save sparks to bring them back as well.
Okay. Yeah, where was that? I can take. Oh yeah, I only need 1 to take
Okay.
any amount of your wounds. How's 2?
That's fine with me.
All right.
Take it from Mac. Okay. So that's 2.
Well, you got your own.
Yeah, a little. Oh yeah.
Let you play with those.
All right, and then you're gonna make an attack. So you're gonna use the choked river. You're gonna dunk the sphere in the choked river.
Sure. You know.
Okay.
Anyway, you never know.
All right.
Cleans it off and it's refreshed again.
Oh, took a
Sidebar.
chance. Say.
Y'all ever seen the movie Solar Babies?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
It's
The-
a post-apocalyptic roller skate
Wow.
movie from the 80s with
Yep. A lot of famous people
yeah,
for no
so many
reason.
things. But there's this magic orb that brings water to a parched world.
It is
Anyway,
the rollerblading. It is the roller
Not even-
lacrosse movie.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a futuristic roller lacrosse movie that like at one point wants to be what is that movie Rollerball but really isn't. Yeah, so, go ahead.
It's far too pretty for
So
that.
it's opposite of the Death Sphere from Phantasm.
Yes.
All right.
Man, I miss those movies.
So I'm gonna throw in. Okay, so I've got 6 there. I'm gonna throw in Killer Instincts because I'm really upset about all those souls that got taken, these innocent souls.
All right.
And so I'm like boiling the river too while it
Okay.
goes in there. Even though it's a conventional attack, yes. And yeah, but
You need 3 to put all 3 into it.
you know what? It
And
says I can do
Just
up
from a
to
storytelling
half
perspective,
of
I'm
my
guessing
rank.
we all
Oh.
have either verbally exchanged the notion that this thing is affected by bad vibes, or we're intuiting it, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so
okay.
my anger about this is giving it back because like I'm just so tired of all these innocents and stuff, and like what that's been doing to my soul, I just send it into that.
Yes.
All right.
Give in
Up
to
to
your
half your
anger.
rank, which is your rank is
Redness
3.
in my
So it
voice.
rounds
Oh,
up.
I'm at 2.
Your rank 2?
Still 2.
Oh, okay.
I know.
So didn't you give me 2 last time?
I noticed that earlier, yeah. So definitely, I was like, oh, right. So,
All right. So we'll take
There we
1, and you got a spark back from last time that you spent and couldn't use.
The last
All
time
right.
after I wiped them all out would have been brutal damage as well.
And
What
you,
matters?
you dunk it in the water and like fill it with the negative energy.
pisses me off.
You wound it. You give it your wound, and you see it like crack suddenly, and the blue energy sort of tendrils like reach out on all sides of it, and it just sort of like suddenly the sphere is just, and like unanimated glass, and all of the constructs both in the mine and out just fall into pieces. So like all over.
Nice.
And hello.
You're welcome.
So we're going to. I'm going to set us up for next week a little bit.
Ink goes over and takes out Dream Shadow and kind of writes like a eulogy on it, just kind of as a binding thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
that's beautiful. Shut up, it's beautiful.
I would Eerie on this.
You guys don't understand, man.
So you return back to Pyre, where the scholars are quite interested in going back and trying to examine what this was, this like strange magical machine that had gone haywire. They're also able to very quickly settle refugees in both the villages that were decimated. And now they found an additional source of water in the river as well. Like the towns are going to flourish relatively. It's still interesting that these things are happening. And there's a sort of feeling that the terrible old machine, like magical constructs of old, are all waking up. And that it's not a good thing. But it does give a bit of insight to Winter, who realizes that chances are the chant is such a malformed creature, is something that was created for some purpose, possibly a malicious one, possibly not, that has over time been perverted by the circumstances it's been involved with, and that perhaps the reason it wasn't around for so long and this showed up is that it is waking up like many of these things are. But that means that the somewhere out there is a source of this, more than just the pieces that you've been able to bring back. That there's a larger source or a larger area of this where you must focus your attention if you're going to solve the problem of the chant. And that means heading to the Shadowvar, where it clearly originates from. So they... you can all heal up, by the way, all the way to whatever, to some sparks for people who need it.
Feeling spent?
How many am I supposed to have?
Actually, I got the exact right amount.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
Ink is so magical.
Are we supposed to get 12?
I think you guys get 14?
Yeah, you
And
both
we
have
get, and we
14.
get 12.
Oh wait, then hold on.
Because you're special.
Because you're ranked 3.
Because we died a lot more.
Almost did again.
I was kind of gunning to die, and I just sort of.
You could have burned your last spark out, and
Yeah.
you can always be epic. I mean, I'm happy you can retcon that if you want. Like you could have been like, "You need to die, Sphere," and then use your last spark, and it would have burned you out.
Yeah, I got so caught up in just trying to get that
And
sphere.
also, that would have been a bitter death, so you would have been able. That would have added some fun to the mix.
No, that's mine only.
Fist bump me!
No.
Bitter pounds!
No fist bump for you.
Fine. Beautiful. I'll get my fist bump.
Dead, and it's just before I've turned to ash, and she's like,
Love it.
So one thing we'll do is, your part of burning out the sphere was making a connection to it, to the magpie, and its sort of like desire for memory and to preserve memory. And so once the dust is settled and you've returned to Pyre, there's a sort of moment where you're out on one of the battlements overlooking the water, and all those memories of your first death come flooding in. And so what is that? What do we see as you remember essentially the time that you became a phoenix?
Well, it was a pleasant enough day, but oddly overcast on the summer shore of Alona. She was on the porch of her home, which was also sort of her pharmaceutical shop and chemistry lab. And her young son and his father were off gathering more herbs. And she saw them coming back in the distance, but they were running and not like sort of a happy, frolicky run. And I looked further around and I saw some other people in the distance also kind of running frantically. So I run out to meet them, and they breathlessly explained that there was some sort of army of skeletons coming this way. And knowing that the dread, having some sense of like the dread being in this world, I don't question it. We run back home and gather some belongings, and since we live near the docks, we run towards a ship whose captain that we know, and everyone else, because the village is starting to get a sense of what's going on, and we try to like usher whoever else we can onto this ship. And once my family gets on the deck, and they turn back to see that I'm not there, it's kind of too late. There's just throngs of people boarding the ship, and so we kind of catch each other's eyes one more time, and I run back home to kind of see what I can do against this army. And I don't know if flames would attract or deter them, but I gather sort of this like kind of flash powder and other flammable things. And there's this arc of a stone road between where the army's coming and the docks. And so I just begin lighting these huge, colorful flames, just trying to make some sort of a blockade or something. And once I've created what feels like a big enough arc and I've kind of exhausted my materials, I look back to see if there's any chance to get onto the ship, and I see that it's left the dock, and I just stand there and I feel the flames at my back, and I hear the pounding hooves of that army coming, and I just have a moment of relief as I see my family on that deck, and then I just feel a pulse and then nothing.
And what is your crucible? Your first one.
Oh, my first crucible, which I am not very detailed on, because I feel like, especially with the kind of powers that she has, there was a lot to learn about that, wielding that power, and just preparing for the life of a phoenix and understanding like how to draw these star powers and how to use them, and so it was a lot of just very fundamental, just understanding what I am now and how to use that.
Awesome.
I have a second crucible story. We could save that if you want.
Okay, yeah. Let's not burn them out too fast. Yeah. So what I want to do is sort of as an interesting. This is like very meta, but so there's this understanding that like the end times, that the dread is accelerating, and so there's, just because we have some time and because you guys are all full up, I thought it might be fun for your wing to participate in a sparring match with another wing to end today's session.
Certainly.
So I'm going to record their information on paper because I don't have the necessary cards for this. But essentially, this is going to be your rival wing. Now, those of you who are Patreon backers will be able to name all 6 phoenixes in the rival wing, as well as describing their personalities and what they look like. For now, they're just going to be generic phoenixes, but we're going to meet them for the first time here. And so...
See, and I'm picturing the frat boys from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to take that and run with it, Chad. I like that, too.
I think they go to...
All right, let's see here.
Is there a certain level of Patreon backer that people need to join at in order to be able to influence the wings?
I think that we're gonna allow even like the lowest level Patreon backer, like even the $1 level or whatever it is, the smallest level, to contribute to constructing the rival wing. But when we start making like the rival wing's going to go out on missions, and we're going to decide how they react to things, and then that's going to sort of be like the social comparison to this wing. So you're like, well, the rival wing went out and they could save all the innocents, but then they didn't because they had to do what had to be done. Whereas like you guys will do whatever you do, and then like and the marshals, it'll give the marshals ammunition to either like chide you or reward you, you know. So it depends whether or not Dumbledore thinks you guys like learn the lesson or not will be dependent on what the rival wing does by comparison.
Wait, are we Hufflepuff?
I think we are very much not.
Let me see here.
Just taking a stab at things here.
Yeah.
Which is what you do mostly.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
A stab, an altar, a savage mauling.
Yeah.
All right, so chat. Why don't you give me? They're gonna. This is all gonna happen in like. Winter is going to create like a sort of mental construct for you guys. This is the training
Danger
room in
room.
the
Call it
Matrix.
danger room, yeah.
Because they actually do not have the power to stop you from killing each other in real life.
Right.
They're going to sort of like bring you into a unified dream. So as a result, any objects can be in the dream. So chat, why doesn't chat pick out chat introduce 6 environmental objects that will be in today's sparring match. We'll write them down, and they'll become available. So, and then Nick, you can pick the 6 you think are best, and send them to me here. So 6 objects that are going to be in this.
The potential for mischief here is very high.
That happens.
What is the ruling on things that are semi-autonomous? These are all just physical objects.
But I mean, it can be like a badger if they want it to be, but the badger won't do anything. It will just be available for Mac to pick up and hit someone with. So
Badger.
Quit badgering me.
Unless it's a honey badger and it don't give a fuck.
Fuck.
Much like me.
Yeah.
I become friends with the honey badger.
Wow.
Make a
braid,
grace check.
braid, really braid. A shelf full of dildos, braid. Come on.
She'd use them.
Someone's in the chat.
She'd make them work.
So I was like, no, we're gonna nix that one, I think.
You have to have it though. Like I feel like a chat by default must have that kind of response. You don't need to answer it, but Braid's just doing the job of making it an actual chat room and not a group of, and not like a sewing circle or a salon.
I think Mandy might have actually come across a shelf full of dildos when she was working at my wife at an adult novelty store in the early 2000s, and they fell on her.
Oh wow.
She was literally assaulted by a wall of dildos.
She had to be pretty happy about that though, because that is instant story. Like,
Yeah.
So I've always this is the weird thing. Like
I mean-
if I was an entertainment journalist and I ever had Brad Pitt or Helena Bonham Carter like on in the chair across from me, for whatever reason I find it interesting that one scene in Fight Club where he like goes to pick her up and they see the dildo on the shelf and then she goes, "Don't worry, that's not a threat to you," and then he just pounds the shelf so it like vibrates.
Yeah.
And I want to know if that was a scripted move or if that was just something that Brad Pitt's like, "I bet you this would be funny," wham, and then just like see it like wiggle, and I'm like, because for some reason I've always thought that scene was so brilliant, and it's just, you can't say that in film school. You can't be like, "I think him hitting the dildo shelf was by far the greatest moment in that sequence," but it is a
It
very,
just
it's
gave
like,
such resonance to the character.
yeah, it is the most Tyler Durden-est reaction to that sequence.
I mean, you couldn't say that in film school, but you could say that at the Groundlings
yeah.
class. You know, like, my comic influences, mostly dildo-based.
Oh god,
So
film
we
school
have
for
5
like
things, and then
pornos
I
now.
can give a suggestion as well.
Okay, cool. Does someone? Why don't you each side take a turn writing down? I got some markers here, writing down objects each. So we got 5 things. What do we got?
There's a monkey wrench,
Monkey wrench,
Got it.
apropos.
a brass
wait.
bell, a steel ladder,
It's suddenly a wrestling match, like
Yeah.
a WWE match. The brass bell, you hit it, and then everybody has to
Yeah.
stop fighting.
All right,
a slotted spoon,
slotted spoon. We're gonna have to have one of you cut a promo at some point here. Okay,
a microscope,
microscope. All right, and is this the last one from you?
yeah,
Okay.
a concrete sculpture of a cow.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, go ahead. If someone wants to put a straw poll together right now, I'll buy you some time to guess which object Mac is going to hit someone with first.
All of that.
Now, mind you, it's
Question.
not entirely up to Mac. Someone could easily use it before she gets her hands on it. But let's imagine Mac is the first to use an object. Which one of those do you think Mac is going to use first? I'm curious to know. And pass me one more Coke, and then we'll get on to this.
Oh my god, because I totally know which one it would be.
Oh yeah, and I have a suspicion. We'll take this time to plug Monday Night Dungeon Fight, which a week from this Monday is going to be myself, Chan, and Mac all competing as 3 of the 4 contestants for the championship. We have a trophy and everything, which Mac is going to put boobs on if she wins, because it's a boy trophy.
Yeah, well, I'm the only lady that made it to the finals.
And we all have. Now, how many cursed objects do both of you have?
I have one that's helpful, and I
Yeah.
have one that's hindering, but only under particular circumstances.
I have like 3 cursed
Oh,
objects.
don't you have like the Ring of the Hag?
Yeah,
or
I have
some
the Ring of the
bullshit?
Hag and like 2 others that I'm dragging in there. A character that Tom Lovell has said he made poorly. So I have no idea how it's going to go for me. But and then the other person is the last year's champion, who I guess is unintelligibly written on that sheet. Perfect. But
Cool, awesome, great.
Alex something. I don't remember his last name. Sorry.
His name is Scribble McScribbleface. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it should be fun. I mean, and that's Monday night, a week from Monday. Although there's always shows every Monday. It's usually, if it's not Monday Night Dungeon Fight, it's Dom's show, Proficiency Check, where he talks about various things. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this week's Proficiency Check was Monday Night Dungeon Fight based. They tend to precede that one. I'm not sure. Dom's in the chat somewhere. He can tell you. And then on Tuesday is. And also Monday, a knick-knack on every corpse, the cutest name ever for a Fallout 4 stream with Megan Caves. The Caves Callerman couple is my favorite couple in nerddom right now. Definitely worth checking out. And Jordan does his old school adventure games on Tuesdays, followed by Rogue's Legacy, which is a father and son game-playing duo. Definitely worth it. Wednesdays, Barky's Brigade. Barky's
Family.
Yes. Barky's Brigade. Hashtag Amy to DM. I'm trying to get Amy to DM because I think that'll be the best thing ever. And then Thursdays we don't do anything because Critical Role is a terrible juggernaut that no one can stop. And then Fridays, this Friday is Black Bag, which is the our Call of Cthulhu in the Modern Era campaign, although they went through a time portal or something, so I don't know when.
It's also mixed up because they're doing a player swap, so I'm not exactly sure who's playing and what thing is going on Friday. So
it's all kinds of random
some
stuff.
Weird combination of Never Tell Me the Odds / Black Bag.
Okay, sounds great. And then, of course, we're back next Saturday after the Dark Sun campaign.
Star Wars Cthulhu has to exist. I mean, somebody has to have homebrewed that somewhere, right?
It does now.
Exactly.
I think that's an easy, because if you look at all the video games, when you get to the early Sith shit, it's very Cthulhu.
Oh, sure.
Anywho's.
I am the producer for the Dark Sun campaign that goes on ahead of this game. I kind of tell you, that is one of the funny. It's 4 comedians, and Sean Graham, also a comedian, but it's 4 comedians, and they have some of the funniest characters. They have this basically Bernie Bro, anti-establishment guy who's a mad bomber. They have an idiot half giant who will believe anything anyone tells him and literally just leans into that character. So if someone's like, "You're cursed," he's like, "Oh no, I'm cursed," and then he forces the party to cure his curse, which he doesn't have, for sessions on end. They have Tennelly Boone, who is inexplicably a Southern belle, but also a half dwarf fighter. And then they have the revolving seat right now because their blind fighter character isn't there. But it's so funny. The season 1 of that show is so funny. Season 2 is even funnier. It's just so worth it. One of the shows I'm proudest that we do, actually. So all those are good. And somewhere
We gotta step it up, guys.
Yeah, we gotta work on it. We're gonna work on it. And thanks, by the way, if anyone is here from
Hyper RPG.
Hyper RPG folks who came by last night and have enjoyed the channel, and anyone who is coming over because they saw me recently on Geek and Sundry, where I am hosting occasional Fridays. So very much happy to everybody. Let's get this fight on. So we can get one-word description. We can get one-sentence descriptions. These aren't going to stick. So the Durant for this for the rival wing, that's like the defender character. How does the Durant's defense abilities look? What do they look like? They're Forceful, who's like the fast character. What does he look like? They're Elemental, who is like essentially the spell slinger. What does he look like? And they're Bitter. Those are the 4 that you're against. Their bitter should not be a
horrible
werewolf. Yeah.
Bitter be bitter.
Yeah, their bitter can be anything else. So let me know what is a one-sentence description, and I'll move from there. Are you making some sort of colorful, like careful construct there? It looks very interesting.
I think you're running like a Rubik's Cube or something.
Yeah,
If you get them into the lament configuration, then you can open the portal.
And Eerie comes out.
You know me. You know me. Remember, oh god, was it Hellraiser Bloodlines where they had the giant lament configuration in space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened.
The Hellraiser
A lot of
series.
things happen in
Yeah.
those.
The Hellraiser series is
God.
definitely one of those series that like it just. Someone needed to. There needed to be someone with like a stick in the writers' room and be like, no, no.
The problem is that it was like Clive Barker with the stick, and the stick was like crazy bent, and they're just like, I don't know what's happening
He
right
actually hit them by way of like positive reinforcement. Yes, yes, I'm Clive Barker. Yes.
All right, so
Have you heard Clive Barker talk? You don't know I'm not doing a perfect Clive Barker impersonation.
Go ahead and tell me who won in the box if you want to.
He's
and
like,
then if anyone has any descriptions, descriptions for any of these characters, let me know. But for now, yes, they're Durant, Forceful, Elemental, and Bitter are going to size up against you. So you all sort of are brought into like a sort of trance state by winter. And you all sort of find yourself in what looks kind of like a like one of those bad '80s movies, dreamscape places. You know what I mean? Where it's,
Are we on the holodeck?
yeah, where like
Cracks of lightning and like weird patches of land floating.
and like a red mist everywhere, especially the extent of things. And your wing will definitely get the first move. So one of you.
Won the toss-up.
Did I take the torch away from you, or just? Oh, there it is.
No.
So one of you can take the torch.
I mean, do we have bets in on what item I'm going to use?
Oh yeah, the bets are in.
Oh, yeah.
The bets are, they have the chat has determined which one they think you're going to use first. So let's see what they have to say.
Did I do it right? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I had the
Oh
right.
yeah, I got it. And yeah, and keep asking chat for like a one-sentence description of the Durant, Forceful, Elemental, and Bitter. These are just temps.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't realize that was the chat.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was
Oh, no.
the table you were talking
Yeah.
about.
All right, we ready, guys?
Oh, you lose, chat. Chat was sure. Chat appeared to enjoy the Hardy Boys. Has decided that you would use the concrete statue of a cow.
I mean, that was a
That makes
runner-up.
sense.
Obviously, runner-up. The beautiful thing about the steel ladder, though, is somebody's head can go right between the rungs, so you can wham them back and forth between the ladder rungs.
Think of the good we're doing for humanity by allowing Mac to get this out of her system in this game.
Oh, and have I mentioned I have the Ruthless card in my
Of
hand
course
right
you do.
now?
Oh yeah.
Ruthless aggression.
All right.
Anyway.
So I'm also, since we're fresh up and this is just for sparring, if I take a wound, I can actually make that an additional 5. So
Okay.
that card is worth 10 right now. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and make that 14. And oh, why not? I'm going to make it 17. I'm going to be really horrific with my steel ladder, so the other player is exposed.
All right, so you're both exposed. And who
Actually,
which one are you-
16.
Which one are you attacking? They're Durant, Forceful, Elemental, or Bitter. They're all basically like sort of like squaring off. Like this is the first. There's not a lot of sparring matches, so like no one's like running around behind cover like it's a bad laser tag event. Like they're just like all like they're like stepping out like the shitty werewolves.
Well, I'm going to go after the other bitter because why not?
Okay, of course.
Bitter
All right, so
be
you'll expose
bitter.
that Bitter. And what was the total you made?
16 actually, and I took a wound, so I also have wound damage, so 17.
17. All right, I'm going to say that the Bitter can put together a defense of, we'll say 10. So that's going to be 7. 7 divided by 2. So that's going to be 2 wounds. 3 wounds. 3 wounds.
Because it's brutal, right?
Because it's brutal.
Okay.
Yes.
Sweet.
So who else would like to attack other people
try
from
one.
Oh, they're
another
gonna
way?
go. One of them is gonna go next.
Besides the Forceful, what else is available?
An elemental, a durant, and a bitter. The Forceful, who is going to go next, is a super tall, spindly, hairless man with pitch black eyes. And seeing Mac run out and basically dive on, start steel laddering one of his friends, he is going to.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Yes. He grabs the monkey wrench.
I'll
Yes, they
stick
can use
along.
environmental objects. And so he is going to grab the monkey wrench and he sort of aims it forward at you, and lightning courses through him and strikes out at you. And so this is a straight defense, whatever you want to defend. Or you can't defend, you're exposed.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't have anything fun to preempt that either, so.
so that's going to be 3 wounds.
At least I have had fun doing this.
So that's 3, that's him. All right, so which one of you is next?
I'll go.
All right.
All right. I'm going to take the Durant just to see if I can. I'm going to assume the brass bell is huge.
Okay. Sure, of course it is. Yeah, it's a giant brass bell like
We
you
have a
have.
description of the Durant now.
Okay, the Durant is made of stone, right? He's a petrifying beast of a man that looks similar to a stone golem.
Oh, okay. So I levitate the brass bell onto his head, and I shoot radio waves that just make it gong,
I was
and
gonna do
just
something
like
similar.
channel
All right.
through his
Yeah.
body, just
All right, what do you got?
resonance just shooting through. All right, I'm using Shining Mirror, so I've got 12, and what else can I do? Yeah, I think that's all I can do.
12? Okay. He's going to. So he'll have a defense of 10, so that's only 2. So you actually don't make it through because he has they have a stability of 3. So he shrugs that, like the big stone man sort of shrugs that off, and he'll go back at you. And this is so you can draw back up, but this is a just a standard defense spread. How will you defend? Oh, and you're shining mirroring him though. So
Yeah, which means I got 1 defense card against a Durant.
Durants are not exactly they don't put a lot of damage in the stack.
Okay. So I got through. Ooh, can I use my Talon?
Yeah.
So, all right, so I got 5 then.
All right, so you'll take 1 wound from that, and then you put 2 points of brutal damage on him
Nice, yes.
for each wound he does, but that's still not enough to crack him, so he's fine. All right, so who's next?
I'll go. Using Dream Shadow, I'm going to become hidden. I'm going to come up to the elemental,
Okay.
just sort of say boo, and do a couple of rune-like attacks that are basically like no magic, nope,
Oh
nope.
wait, I forgot to mark that. Sorry.
Alright.
So that's +4, and
Okay.
that's 12 altogether. And now I'm not hidden.
Okay, so you said 12 altogether?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, and this is the elemental. So I'm going to give him 2 wounds from that.
Okay.
Well done. The bitter apparently looks like a coffee bean.
Like the establishment?
No.
Or
Actually, previous to that, he was lemony.
Okay.
We were trying to figure out. I was trying to get a little more descriptive.
Okay.
He's lemony.
He's a lemony coffee bean.
Well, it's definitely not anywhere near my character, so I guess sure.
Yeah. The Forceful is going to, we're going to go Forceful and Forceful, and he's going to dash up to you, and so this will be a defense spread for you.
Yeah, I've dealt with tall assholes like him in my past. And ooh, all right, 6.
6?
Yeah.
6? Okay, take a wound from that, and he'll take a wound back from your flowing force. And then is it your action?
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
I'm gonna grab the slotted spoon and just crack him in the nose with it.
Okay. Draw your card. I'll give you brutal damage for that slotted spoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 survivor just for 5. 8 plus 3, 11.
11? All right. And we'll say he'll take 2 wounds and he'll hand you one back from his equivalent of your power. And then it's the top of the round. Wait, is there all of them gone? Oh, their bitter has yet to go. So what is the bitter who looks like a coffee bean or lemony? It's not really clear what that means.
One clarification was sort of like a spoiled lemon, so I'm thinking like, kind of green and maybe white fuzz.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
Is that like sucked in and wrinkly?
See, I'm preferring to think that he looks like lemon grab.
I was gonna say, is it like an
Yeah, yeah.
Adventure Time kind of like lemony, like
Million
years
dungeon. I was thinking like the author of a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
no,
Nice,
that's,
like
that's,
a
yeah.
Make it
Actually
kind.
lemonade.
Okay.
All right.
It's the Rashomon of
From different angles.
All right. So a coffee-esque, lemon-esque, cartoon-esque author is going to tackle you back, Mac. So give me a defense spread.
I can. I'm
Oh, that's-
exposed, but they're also exposed.
That's true. So we'll say that's 1 wound for you.
Okay. But then it's my turn.
That is your turn. All right. What do you got? You still.
I don't want to disappoint the chat.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I already have brutal damage for my new power, but I figure, fuck
Yeah.
it. Let's go ahead and use a concrete statue of a cow.
Okay.
Concrete
cow.
concrete cow.
Concrete cow.
Hashtag concrete cow.
Yep.
Actually, hold on. I think I
Alright.
need to get a picture of that.
All right. So, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and use Power from Pain,
Okay.
which allows me to draw another card and also add current wounds to that. So basically, I already add wounds, so that's a lot.
So it's 10. for
Yeah, it's
wounds
basically
alone.
10, another 4, 14, and then 15.
Okay.
It's all brutal damage. So, do I need, all right. Like, do I need to put down more cards?
Bye, bitter. So you slam the as yet undescribable lemon coffee bean into the ground with the concrete sculpture of a cow.
Move, bitch.
Ah,
Away.
thank you for that.
Until little is left.
I hate you so much right
I
now.
love it though.
I actually have enough to do possibly another attack spread
Do it.
here. So I'm going to take said cow and whip it around at whoever is closest to me. Maybe the elemental, because
Okay.
they came after me before. Who's squishiest?
Elementals are pretty squishy. I
Right.
mean, they put a lot of damage out, but they don't take much.
Yeah, so because I already automatically have 9 right now, and it's all brutal damage for me right now. And I'm going to go ahead and put down what I can here. So let's
Oh, and you're not exposed anymore because you defeated an enemy.
Oh, yeah. So it's brutal damage. That would be 9, and then another, 8? So 17?
Okay, you'll take him out too.
I'm done now. Would
right.
anybody else like to play?
I'll go.
Wow. All right. So Mac's nothing to fuck with. Go ahead and draw it, Mac, because you're actually gonna get hit by their forceful.
Oh, I can actually defend them. Maybe.
Give me the best you can, because you got 1 wound left. I mean, not that this matters, but
Yeah, I'm going to do superhuman reflexes and then put another in there. So it's 9, and then I'm assuming it's probably. Can we still spend sparks?
can spin sparks in
All right.
defense. So 9 is what you got.
Yeah.
I'll say that they just because we're giving them tit for tat. They still push that one wound onto you even with 9. So you go down.
Whee. But I did take out 2 of them, and when they're
Yes.
phoenixes, I'm pretty happy with that.
All right.
Worth it.
Okay, now it is whoever's turn it is.
All right, I really got it in for that Durant now. Like, my pride is kind of wounded. From my sort of scientific knowledge of the past, I intuit that microscope has a glass that really is amazingly prismatic. So
I was just going to stick it up somebody's nose.
you can use the rest of it because I'm just going to break it and take out the glass. So I get it in front of me and I shoot like a blast of light towards him that just goes swing like from through the glass like out to him.
All right.
Let's see. Oh, I get. Oh, and then I get to draw another card because of that one. Oh wait, but I can't add cards to my defense though, or my attack though, right?
No, probably not.
Okay.
So what is that? That one is a
intuitive.
No, but the other one that you're using.
Noble.
Oh, noble. All right. So, but you're not using that as a trait.
Nope.
Okay. So what's the total?
6.
Do you want to flip your talon? Isn't that an attack on the other side? Oh no, it's no.
Skills. Kind of all like.
So it's total 6. Which we'll say we'll give you 1.
Thank you.
I'll give you 1 on that Durant because it will say he has no defense spread left.
Aren't you glad I'm really dead so I'm not in your head?
I have no response to that.
I think he likes it. All right, so
We're sitting on the sidelines going, kill them.
the Durant's going to hit you back, so give me a defense spread. You can draw because your turn ended.
I only get 1 defense card
Pacing
of
back
this
and
thing.
forth.
Oh.
It's the worst one for that. But maybe I can add for my talent.
Yeah, so 5. All right, so
right.
take another wound from him.
Okay.
And who's next?
I'll go.
All right.
I'm going to also go for the Durant. And the great thing about my crucible is that the totality of knowledge and all the universe is there. So I read a folktale from a quaint little planet orbiting a star somewhere far away about a golem.
Okay.
So what I do is I basically write the aleph for golem, the Hebrew letter, on his forehead, trying to get him to stop,
Okay.
as opposed to come to life.
Very nice.
Going
Nice.
classic.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the little cards
I like.
pop there. Yeah. Okay, take that, chat. Take that, world. I have done a cool thing. Accept it.
And then you can't make the spread.
Or is he just like, oh, and fire rain from the heavens,
Yeah,
and I got
you
one.
can keep that. You guys can't use it anymore in this game.
Okay.
But that
Well,
one,
we're
I'm not
going to go
gonna-
for...
I think it's worth it after that.
Right, I can do 8 for sure, and then I would petition for smartest person in the room.
Yeah, certainly that works.
Oh yeah, that's part of the whole thing you just gave us.
All right, so that's 13.
But wait, do you have no more grace to add?
Well, intellect is my.
Oh, do you have no more
primary.
intellect to add?
I mean, I can add 1 more.
Okay.
So that's 14.
14?
Yeah.
14. I'll give you 2 wounds for that.
Get him.
Get him.
Damn, do
Get
it.
him.
Get him. Take him down.
Okay, so
Just nothing but grace. Nothing but grace.
which is true of you more often than not.
You.
The Forceful is going to continue on to Chan there, so go ahead and make a defense spread, Chan.
To make it official.
Small and quick. 5, 7. Do I want to do this? Oh, I still get to draw. Yeah, 10.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do wounds both ways. So you'll take 1, he'll take 1, but he's pretty bad off. Go ahead.
I'm enjoying this immensely. Death without consequences is pretty awesome right now. I have no regrets. No regrets either.
Blur emotion. I'm going to keep smacking him with the slotted spoon.
Okay.
And then just jam my fingers right through the holes and try and poke out his eyes.
The holes of the spoon?
The slotted spoon!
Okay, sure.
It's very Marx Brothers.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? 7.
I don't know, but I love it.
10, 13, 15.
15?
Where are my fives?
Yeah.
Good God.
15.
Seriously, yes.
That'll do him. So that's the forceful down. So their Durant is back up. Defense spread, ink.
How much?
Just as much as you can, because they don't. I can't actually put spreads out for these folks. Although I can, for my other set, actually construct like their full deck at some point. So I might actually be able to have this
You don't
battle
even have
in a
any
meaningful
wounds. Why are
way.
you worried?
Just want to make it the most effective I can. All right, so there's +5, there's 5.
Jesus.
17?
Yeah, nothing. He cannot lay a hand on you. Who's next?
I guess it's me.
Sure, couldn't have that when
Right.
we were fighting
Okay.
anything else.
You're right.
So I'm going back to that brass bell. If I get on his head, and this time I just shoot fire and melt it over him.
Okay.
It's very Game of Thrones of you.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
The crown he
that.
deserves.
Targaryen.
Ooh, that got me. Yeah.
That must have been so. That's like the most painful experience. Like, oh, wow.
God, I dreamt about that for days. And I've got one card I can use for this.
All right.
I can turn one of these into Jesus Christ. This is like, can I be my own savior? And, okay. So maybe I want to take a wound because then I can deal brutal damage. I'm going to lure him into a false sense of security with my God. With my useless cards. I can't even put another. Okay.
All right. 4. Nope. All right. No damage there. Who's next?
No, wait. Make him attack me so I can. That's how I'll get my revenge.
Okay.
Because.
Why you can't?
Yeah. Well, he will attack you. So you need to put a defense spread up.
Okay, because he gets 2
I'm
points of
giggling
brutal
on the
damage for each
sidelines.
wound I take.
Right. Okay.
Echoing through the
Well,
weird
so
80s
if you
dreamscape.
don't defend at all, then you'll take
I'm
2
on a
wounds
rock
and
that's
he'll
just floating
take 1.
by, pointing and laughing.
Okay. I guess I got not much choice.
Okay. So he'll take a wound. You take 2.
I'll hurt myself just to hurt him. All right.
Wow.
Maybe my next set is going to be better. I don't know.
All right. Go for
see where
it,
this goes.
Chan.
The dark side.
This creepy little dude's gonna come at him.
All right. At
Um,
this point, he's pretty terrified.
okay, we're going to 5, and I'm gonna put the chant into him.
Oh,
Wow.
6,
Man,
Kind of like.
11, 14.
That was pretty impressive. Yeah, you can get him. And also, like, cause a chant outbreak of terrible proportions.
Empire.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice little society we had once.
You know, I really enjoyed Phoenix Dawn Command. It was a great game. I look forward to the next time we start it again because everybody is dead now.
Good job. You embarrass terribly the other wing, which creates a rivalry, which we'll find out more about thanks to you folks in the Patreon. And also next week we'll be able to engage their flare abilities. So each character is going to have a flare ability, which you can pay to activate, which is sort of like a combat fun ability. And they'll also have a negative equivalent ability, which is essentially some sort of tantrum you can force them to have, which is basically a role-playing experiment. So, you know, Mac will continue doing what she's doing, but for your donations. This has been Phoenix Dawn Command. Thanks for letting us have a little fun ending there, and generally for being a great audience. We play this game every Saturday. It's the game where you level up by dying. No levels up today, this is the first time we've had a session where someone hasn't died, which is good.
Close call, though.
Yeah.
Get that stability together.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go on to begin the real serious quest for the source of the chant starting. So that'll mean some deaths because chanters are terrifying. So more on that soon.
don't like them.
We talked a little bit about the other shows already. So everyone want to do a little plug about or a thing that you want to plug or a thing that you think is cool. Anyone?
You first.
Okay, no, I actually got one just because for my job recently I was forced to read this young adult novel, but it was about Disney villains. So if you like Disney villains, and who doesn't, Fairest of All is like the origin story of the Snow White Queen. I don't know if it was just because I was kind of emotional this week, but I cried at least twice.
Wow.
And it was really good. And it goes into her childhood and her horrible father. And you see her turning and you know what's going to happen. And you're just watching it unfold. And you're like, don't go there, don't do it, God.
And her pact with dark magic.
Yeah, and how she got it. It's so Fairest of All, if you're into like a quick light read about, a pretty excellent villain.
A quick light read that will make you cry.
It was good, but it was like also beautiful sad, but
It's
then
a metaphor for puberty, I get it.
it was good. So if you like, the Snow White Queen and all that good stuff, I recommend that book.
Mike, Chan, Mac, anyone?
Thursday, I am playing my first session of a relatively new RPG called Shadow of the Demon Lord, which is it's mostly a D20 system, but you only use 20s and 6s. And one of the cool things about the story is that it's super grimdark, and basically
Because you keep sliding over.
okay. Whatever. Grimdark. I'm looking forward to it. Shadow of the Demon Lord by Robert Schwalb.
Schwalb? All right.
That's a fake name.
Mac?
Yeah, I have been and will continue to be Mac. There were some questions actually last game I saw from the chat because I'm wearing these really fun teeth here and people are wondering what they were. They're actually by my Fangsmith of Caballero Fangs. That's Cavallero. It's a good time before Halloween to get in there if you're looking to get some custom teeth. They're actually just little caps. They pop right over, super comfortable. Obviously, I can talk in them. So if you want something that's better than the Scarecrow stuff, that's your guy.
Chan?
Got a show at midnight at the Pack. It's improv. My job is writing about television. This season, there's a show on ABC called Speechless that's really fucking good. You should check it out. It's really funny and pretty heartfelt. I like it.
What's the plot?
It's Minnie Driver is the mother of a boy with cerebral palsy. He's nonverbal, so he gets oh damn it, I've forgotten his name now. Cedric Yarborough to
He's
sort of like
awesome.
be his voice. John Ross Bowie is the dad. The entire cast is fantastic, and it was much better than I expected it to be, especially given that it's ABC, which is
Kind of terrible.
kind of really terrible.
Yeah.
But Fresh Off the Boat and Speechless are two really good shows.
We just
on
promoted two Disney things. They should
Yeah, give some.
Okay, you can pick off up.
I don't know if I'm coming late to the party on this one. I certainly didn't read the novels, but there's a series on Netflix right now called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell.
I just
That is
started
amazing.
it.
Okay.
I just started it
It's-
last night.
You guys are gonna be
The book is
It is so good.
It's so good.
I'm like an episode out from finishing it. It is like it's like sort of like an exploration of like British society and class, but in a fantasy world in which magic has sort of been reawakened during like the pre-World War I England.
So it's like Downton Abbey.
Yeah, kinda. It's like, but it's actually
More
earlier,
magic
I think.
and less
yeah.
Maggie Smith.
100% more magic than Downton Abbey.
Yeah, and 100% less Maggie Smith. But it's really good. The acting is fantastic. The actor who plays Jonathan Strange has some of the most incredible arc I've ever seen. Like in the space of the 6 or 7 hour plus long episodes I've watched so far, he's gone from like foppish as you meet him in episode 1 to a totally different character in a totally believable and brilliant way. The magic effects are cool. I watched like an episode and a half of it, and I had to stop and get my girlfriend caught up so we could watch together because I knew it was like it needed to happen. Definitely worth it. And also one of the things that it's weird to say that because they're such different things, but that show and Penny Dreadful are both like my biggest inspirations for this game, which is weird because this is like set in like a Roman sort of universe, but like I feel like the ideas and like the sort of energy and the mentality of those shows plays well into what it is that we do in this game. I'm actually interested in the chat if you'd love to let us know. Give us a ring on Twitter or on our Facebook page. Tell us what TV shows our games remind you of or are inspired by, because I'm interested in what Phoenix Dawn Command brings to mind, and or what helps you get in that universe, but also even Barky's Brigade. I'm actually trying to, Adventure Time maybe? I'm not sure. Like, Gravity Falls. Like, Barky's Brigade is definitely its own animal, but yeah, there's some great stuff on TV, and we want to know, the next step for any network like ours that makes cool geek content is to like build a community, and part of that is to talk about shit we like that's not on this channel. So let us know, and we'll talk with more about that and more of this game in a week. Bye, everybody, I guess. Bye.
Man, the only thing that bummed me out.
I always wished I had a family, and now I do. Barky's Brigade is here for me. We're here for you. See? Now I'll list the names of folks who make up our crew. It's Donovan, Atuska, Asher, Udo, and me too. Oh, Barky's Brigade, Barky's Brigade. Arky, Barky, Flarky, Starky, Barky's Brigade. Barky's Brigade, Barky's Brigade. Arky, Barky, Flarky, Starky, Barky's Brigade.